Welcome back, everyone, to the Deadlock Night Shift number 11, as we're about to break way through to our muddy match here in North America between melee creeps and defending champions, well, at least in the Night Shift of Sneaky Golems. They had a little bit of a rough time this last weekend in the Trolli Open, where they did lose 2-0 against melee creeps. At least this time, Jake, they have a chance to defend at least one of their titles.
Yeah, and it's one that they've got to cling to, right? That's kind of all you have left. And I think melee creeps are coming for it too. They want to run the full sweep. They want to assert total dominance here in North America. In fairness, took this team a little while to get going, right? Sneaky Golem, after the last couple of weeks, it was looking like, hey, maybe this is the significant top dog in NA, and maybe melee creeps have been, maybe the expectations were too high for them. But now, after last weekend, I feel like all of that is out the window, and I think this is more about melee creeps getting that victory lap, or whether Sneaky Golem have found the adaptations to deny it.
And that's the question, ZP. Have they been able to level up from just a few days before? I think it was a big sting to them to not take home the 5K prize.
Yeah, I mean, you don't go through that period of dominance and then lose the big tournament that's there. I mean, that sucks. There's no way of sugarcoating it. I'm sure it was a big blow. However, if you are Sneaky Golem, you're ready to bounce back. I think it's one of those things where you're going to make big draft adaptations. And, you know, as we look at the Melee Creeps roster again, you're seeing John the Geist. I think that's also probably what you're going to see John on in this series, because I think when you look back at why things went wrong, if you're Sneaky Golem, one of the key things has to be the bebop play that you're dealing with. I think it was an all-star showing from John, but it's also one that's relatively easy to deal with in the draft. And if nothing else, when you talk about Sneaky Golem, they're smart players in terms of their coaching and their in-game calls. And as I look at it, I don't think a player like Rocker is going to let Sneaky Golem get, draft gapped, 2 different game nights in a row.
Yeah, it would be kind of a surprise to see something like that happen yet again. I mean, we did have some great individual play when it came to last week. I think of Rokane in particular when he was on his Mirage. Leak, thinking back to his Ivy as well. But I almost want to give you the question, Jake, but it's such a stupid question to ask of, like, which player to you stands out this roster? And I feel like almost every single person has had their own moment.
Yeah, everyone has. I do think one of the keys for them in this series is maybe going to be Goober, because we've seen Viscous Star kind of rising and falling. Like, for a while, it was out of the meta, and then Goober started playing it again and showing people that even after the nerfs, it still can be super dominant. But in fairness, it's kind of a tough meta for Viscous in a sense, right? Capacitor carries are really on top. Purging off that cube is kind of no trouble. You're not really even going out of your way in the build to do it. And so, I think that's going to be my question for Sneaky Golem this series is, can Goober come out with some of these really strong early game performances? I'd love to see even them contesting the Bebop pick from John. I think Goober can pilot that really well. And that could be not only an asset for Sneaky Golem, but a way to take away one of those key threats for that melee creeps bring to bear.
And ZP, I kind of want to be a little bit harsh on a particular player. Thinking back and looking back at the games from the weekend, I feel like Hydration just really didn't have a great showing in their series versus melee creeps. So I wanted to hear maybe what your thoughts you had about him.
I think Hydration is kind of in the spot where when the team is looking bad, he's going to look bad, and vice versa, because Hydration in his hero pool, he's also been Mr. Phil on the team in the sense that Hydration is usually the guy where if you need to pick a hero for to make a composition work, Hydration is usually going to be the person on it. And I feel like that can make him look at times like in losses look worse than he really is, because usually he's going to be one that's like more likely to be taking the L versus someone that gets to always play their comfort heroes at all times. So I mean, don't get me wrong, I see where you're coming from on that, being like, okay, you didn't look as good, even when you got things like Mo, but also on the same note, I think Hydration has definitely picked a rather unglamorous role, but a very important role from the team of being the guy who needs to do what necessarily no one else is ready to fill at the time.
I mean, he's the one that plays Paige for the team as well, so I can kind of understand. Then again, I mean, if I had to look at Paige all game, I'd be quite happy as we take a look at the head-to-head between these last two teams in the last few weeks. As we can see, melee creeps able to take a map off of Sneaky Golem when they finally came back into the mix after the Baroness Hotel had disbanded, with Sneaky Golem taking them down, getting their title back. But it's been some rough times. I mean, I wasn't here last week when they played, but maybe, Jake, if you were here, if you can break down what happened, if you can remember, between these two teams and how quickly it turned from a 2-0 for Sneaky Golem to a 2-0 for melee creeps.
Yeah, I mean, I think really the biggest difference was the fact that melee creeps felt like they had control of the game from the very beginning. And honestly, I think John's Bebop kind of soloed the game. I mean, that's obviously a crazy overstatement given the reality of a 6-on-6 game, but some of those hooks, man, were just backbreaking. Sneaky Golem, I felt like they missed a lot of these key fights that in a game of Deadlock you're really playing for. It's like, yeah, you want to get that edge in the early game, but teams at this level, it comes down to those key engagements on mid boss. And a lot of the time, John's hooks were like preventing those engagements from taking place. They were getting a couple free kills and just transitioning straight to objectives, snowballing the game from there, and getting a huge lead off of kind of like one little play from an individual player. So I think that's something that Sneaky Golem are absolutely thinking of, especially going into this draft and thinking about their strategy for how they want to approach coming up with their composition.
Well, ZP, we did see Sneaky Golem, in particular against the Youngs, ban out specific comfort heroes. This time, they're starting off with a Victor instead, not going for anything comfort related when it comes to Bebop. However, there is a world we could see melee creeps take Bebop in top 3 if they want to lock it in, though we know Paradox is also going to be a very highly contested pick between these two teams.
I'll go a step further. I think they will take it in top 3, and for Sneaky Golem, their only way of denying it, I don't think they have to.
I think they're going to take it first.
But they do
I actually think they take it first.
Next 2 picks.
If I were them, I would take it first here, actually. I think it's that important. I think it's like Goober's second best hero on top of that. And I think because of that factor, it's going to be a super high prio contest. I think if you don't take it first, you don't get it. Okay, so they go with Paradox. I think melee creeps very likely should grab this first too.
It's hard to say, though, because I think for Bebop, as good as it is, it's an even higher level of priority to take in the first 2. Melee creeps have only taken it 3rd in all here. So
fair enough.
It's sort of I wonder where the gamesmanship is here, because on one hand, if you're Sneaky Golem, you're going, okay, if we want to deny the Bebop, we can grab it with our 2 and 3. And melee creep so far is saying, well, we don't have to grab it until the very last part as we want to get our highest power picks. The question is, does melee creeps pick or like get hit with the power tax here and sacrifice what could be another premium hero like Infernus to secure the Bebop? I think perhaps they should, but in this case, I think they kind of want Sneaky Golem to prove that, okay, are you actually going to do that to begin with? They know they'll ban the Bebop. I don't know if they're convinced that they'll pick the Bebop.
I like getting the Infernus and the Shiv together, though. I think that gives you some good damage and kill threat onto Bebop, because Bebop, let's be honest, is not dodging those Shiv knives. He's not dodging the burns from Infernus, and that big body can get ticked down real quick. And at the same time, if you're going to go with Shiv, I think Infernus is one of the best counters. So you kind of block pick your own counter there. And Sneaky Golem go with the Yamato, very early Yamato compared to what we've seen recently.
Yeah, I think over the course of the weekend, we saw AVG have some really good play on Yamato, going back to his like roots of playing Yamato and being fed over farm in particular. I also think it's kind of a contested pick for melee creep side, though I believe Scout was going to be on the Shiv, if I'm not mistaken, for the MC team here. Damn, they did it.
Yeah,
getting it 3rd is nice here. I mean, you get it a little bit later, and I think this is a pick that my suspicion is that as the series progresses, this might go even earlier. That's my thought. Wait, I think this is actually a critical hero for the two teams. Do you ban
Geist if they don't take it, and then you force John on something else completely?
Potentially. I think, though, in terms of bans, the one thing I want to bring up that I think Melee Creeps does here that I would have recommended Sneaky Golem do if the Bebop came in 3rd for Melee Creeps and Sneaky Golem didn't go for the Bebop, I think you ban the Mo. I actually don't think you let the Mo go through here because Sneaky Golem, Hydration, loves playing the Mo, and Mo also works incredibly well with Bebop. If you're Melee Creeps, you need to ban the Mo here. I actually think that is the #1 ban they need to do. Okay, they go for it.
Yeah, it's a good call out. I think it's a scary matchup for Holiday and Infernus, who rely on being able to abuse their mobility to last a lot longer in team fights. And if Mo just combos you, ints you down, and even Infernus, like, yeah, your ult theoretically can stun him, but oftentimes you get caught for even a couple seconds on Infernus, you are just not going to live to tell the tale. So taking away that mode means Sneaky Golem, the follow-up is going to be less obvious off these picks and swaps.
Oh,
bro, the mind games here are insane in this draft. The Bebop in top 3 for Sneaky Golem and the Geist ban. Are we going to see Warden out of John?
No. Warden is ass right now. You do not pick Warden. I actually think if you pick Warden at all, it is a throw. He got way too many nerfs. Like, it's a good point, though, is that you look at John's hero pool. I think he's... Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh. Points on Sneaky Golem. I'm sorry, say, John. You should have went the Mirage. I was gonna say you go the Mirage here if you're John. That's his other.
I think the Death of Warden is overstated, frankly. Actually, I think Geist is an insane matchup against Warden because you have the uncontrolled damage. So Geist just swaps you, on your max HP. She swaps you and then just kills you. And so I think actually it is a potentially playable Warden game, especially into Yamato, right? Like, they're both heroes that have like a hard committal ultimate that they really need to fight around. But I think when it comes to like the one-on-one, generally I'll take Warden. If both heroes are popping their ultimates, I'd rather be the Warden. I'm going to outlast the Yamato and do a bunch of team damage outside of that as well.
Some new blood.
Damn, and they get Mina on top of this ZP. A pretty solid lineup so
these
far
are
for Sneaky Golem.
Calico Mina are. It's true. Like I wouldn't have minded the Warden, but I kind of wish it went like 6th pick. I do think, man, like seeing Calico Mina go, it's like, oh.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. In terms of priority, there is no universe on God's green earth with Calico still available and Yamato that Sneaky Golem is going to early pick a Warden. Like they're not going to throw AVG on Warden, even though it's been one of his favorite heroes. I think AVG. I'm trying to remember if I heard him on record or not recently talking about Warden, but in terms of actual picks, we haven't seen an AVG on Warden in a while, and just because of the consensus that Warden is kind of in dumpster right now. So I don't think Warden getting picked for Sneaky Golem was really a threat. You're 100% right, Jake. They could have grabbed the Warden later. However, EU is shaking its head at NA because Doorman at 6 is definitely some high value.
I was gonna say that's kind of crazy to see Doorman go first pick, basically the entire way through EU, and then NA gets dropped into like a last pick. I mean, we see this happen though before with I think Infernus. I think like EU highly prioritized Infernus in the beginning of Deadlock, and NA didn't, and then it kind of swapped between the two. As Mirage gets picked in last, like this is, I don't know who I kind of favor in this one. Honestly, both teams are looking really good at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like getting this Doorman and Abrams this late is kind of wild, considering these are some super strong heroes. And I mean, altogether, I think this is going to be a really good game. I think the Bebop is a really big pickup for Sneaky Golem. I think that is sort of pivotal in terms of the playmaking potential. I think for melee creeps, yes, you know, Saya on the holiday is a super big threat, but with Paradox and Bebop, you can get in with that lasso, but can you get out? Can you actually pull your target deep?
We got some sauce in the chat right now, which is specifically Vegas coming in saying it's a 6-on-5. Lord NM is off Mo. Vegas just firing shots across the bow at Lord NM, saying he's not going to perform without the Mo and Krill.
Bro, I think
read a couple lines
think it's
down.
going to work from Vegas here.
I think he's going to be Doorman. So this is an opportunity. The gauntlet has been thrown down on Lord NM. If he can hang on the Doorman, he's standing up.
You ban your own one trick. That's definitely directed towards him.
That's
there's no ambiguity
toxic.
There,
that's a little toxic. Yeah. Calling somebody a Mo and Krill one trick, that's devious.
Well, what's crazy is that the last, I think, 2 days, Lord NM has been actively playing Doorman on his stream.
I see him all the time in ranked playing Doorman, so I'm assuming he's going to be the Doorman here.
But in all of the games that I was watching him stream, when they're like not doing well, he's like, I'm sorry guys, I'm learning a new hero. Like every time, and that's pretty much every game. So we'll see how it's gonna work out as we do drop into our first map of the series. Remember, winner takes home $1,000, and loser, well, you got to come back next week, or at least beg ZP to come back next week to see if you can get another crack at it. So let's jump into this one. Sneaky Golem against melee creeps with Jake and ZP.
You know, Jake, as I look at this here, Sneaky Golem, I was thinking, is like, you know what, you can have Goober play the Bebop. It's actually going to be completely fine. One of his best heroes. Draft-wise, I could see some of the vision for melee creeps, but I feel like Sneaky Golem, they did their homework. Like, they actually, the Trolli weekend, it stung, but they learned. Because I look at the drafts between these two teams, and while I think there's some elements for melee creeps that are good, I think the way the lanes are going to work out, I think the ramp to late game is just going to be a lot more favorable for Sneaky Golem here.
We'll have to see. As we get into this, there's going to be some team fighting threat. It feels like I've been missing Warden. I'm not going to lie. I'm a big Warden enjoyer. It's a lot of fun to see, especially at the highest level, how they make use of that ultimate.
Look, I've been on Team Warden forever. It is my favorite character in the game. But even I recently had to look at it as like, nah, the nerfs have just, they've cut deep. I would love for John to just be the Warden Messiah with the absolute best build here, but I think it is truly going to be a bit of an uphill battle.
The laning for Warden, though, stays dominant. You can't take anything away from this guy on the lane. Absolute beast. Killing creeps, slanging flasks. Everybody gets a flask, even if you don't want it, especially if you don't want them, you get one. And a nice big wave prio here, so opportunity for Warden, but Paradox, one of the better D pushers in the early phase. This is a big guardian damage for this is a second wave. I mean, this is nice. This is nice from John. Put some respect on the Warden.
Also, monster rounds immediately, so nothing really changing for that part of the build. That's basically been like core item number 1 for Warden in the beginning, barring like the absolute most crunched in the first like wave level of harass.
These flasks, man, he's hitting multiple 2-hero flasks off the rip. And just continuing to pray for this heavy wave prio. Yamato, you see ABG starting to tangle with him though, in those close range trades. But when you take those flasks, you do less bullet damage, right? So it's a little bit scary to continue to trade with Warden. And we've talked about how Yamato can do that with her slash, but Warden offers much the same utility.
I do wonder on the Warden build here, you know, in current day, you know, how quick you go QSR. I think it may be QSR second, and then it's just a wonder of like, do you go for other lane harass? Like, you know, we've seen Mystic Shot turn into a buy it on everyone at times when you're trying to get lane pressure, right? Like, do you get that Warden, or at this point, do you go still more like, no, I need like my stuff for late game? Because if he builds Warden the same way that's Bebop, like you can still go early Enchanters or early Battle Vest on Warden and have it be a pretty reasonable pickup, like as far as survivability goes.
It's an honor to be of service.
Yeah, I feel like Warden also has some crazy build variety because you can, I mean, early game's one thing, right? But I mean, later in the game, you can build completely different styles of Warden. We've seen Gun carry Warden. I think Spirit, you know, maxing that ultimate seems to be the best at the highest level, just because of the ridiculous power spike it gives you into team fight. When you have like a fully kitted Warden, majestic leaping into the back line. I mean, if your whole team is attacking at that moment, it is just absolutely devastating. And speaking of being devastated, man, this lane pressure is immense. Where's the D push? Melee creeps doing boxes. They're about to let a full wave crash on their tower. See what the strategy is for Johnson to deal with that. Meanwhile, on the side lane, man, Infernus kind of struggling under the weight of the pressure from this Calico. Sneaky Golem getting the lane setups that they want in this game.
This can be a little bit dangerous where, you know, as Mina, you want to apply pressure, but if your lane partner gets dunked like that, you start becoming more of a threat where things can just kind of... And also, I've misread the lane. Yeah, I mean, in this case, Mina just applying plenty of pressure.
Yeah, I mean, Mina, scary hero, right? Even when you get her low, she can heal back up. ABG under pressure in the mid lane, but giving as good as he's getting here. And Saya's forced back. They got to balance between trying to get as farmed as possible, doing these boxes, and then keeping the wave shove constantly. Which is nice for Saya, though. Getting that sewer box run early is always a nice little boost to souls.
Also, I love how item builds have gone up here, where even on Shiv is like, yeah, just get Mystic Shot early. Go for extra harass.
This is so nice for League. Being able to take this position on Mirage and just put the pressure down. And, you know, Bebop has no problem clearing the waves on his own. It's kind of a scary spot for Shiv. I wonder if he's going to buy some regen right now, because this is just going to get more and more painful. I don't see League really backing out of that side angle, and I don't know that they can trade with him.
19k, the 19k here so far, but you look at the Guardian situation. Left lane, under quite a bit of pressure here. That's the Bebop Mirage lane for Sneaky Golem. Where, you know, I think one of the X factors for this game is that, you know, how good is your Bebop going to be? Is your Bebop going to be a force of nature? You know, the level of variance on Bebop relative to other characters is quite high.
Yamato and Warden traded ults in mid. Now they're fighting with the scraps of the HP, low resources. Seems like both teams may be content to back off of this one. Seems like Paradox maybe got the upper hand here, but now Calico coming in with the movement buff. Unexpected, very early rotate off the back of the movement buff. Great timing there. Good tempo from Hydration, and the counter pressure is good from Abrams and Infernus, but are you really going to be able to get anything out of this? Calico's coming back soon.
Yeah, in this case, use Nox Nostra to just kind of solidify the lane a little bit while Calico is gone. Calico again, dive into the back. Return the Shadow, active. Can be used more for escape. Seismic Slam in from Scout. Scout dives back in. Let's see if that was the right call here in a second. Maybe eating Love Bites for the trouble, but that early gank when the Guardians are still in contest, that's something that I feel like only a Calico can kind of make work mobility-wise right now, Jake. It's very rare to see that in pro play.
Yeah, and to pull it off with a minimal punish is really nice. The coordination, I actually like the use of Rocade of the ultimate there. Like, clearing the wave really is the highest priority right there, so you just don't take too much Guardian damage. And, I mean, even the Mina ult, like, yes, it's nice, it can be a powerful tool, but sometimes what you need is just wave clear. And the fact that you can deploy your ultimate for that at times at the right moment makes sense. It means they don't really get punished for getting that Calico kill mid.
I think the real punishment for the Calico kill was just the current status of the Guardian, where it ate pretty much an HP tax afterwards. But also, in terms of looking at here, Warden John got forced back for the full heal, and while the Warden is away, the rest of middle lane will play. Guardian taking down Saya in a chunk from the power slash. First Guardian of the game down. It goes the way of Sneaky Golem.
Yeah, this is nice for AVG and the Yamato. John looks like he's building into maybe a little bit of a gun spec here. That kinetic dash. You don't usually that's a pretty big indicator, right? Because you would, I think, go the Spirit dash if you wanted to build for the Warden ulti build. So maybe a gun Warden on the cards here. Maybe a little bit more consistency in this game. A little bit harder to just hard disengage from. Trap on the Yamato. I mean, she could ult this off if she wants to, but holding off for now. Yeah, wants to save that ultimate for an opportunity for real kills.
When you break down the item, well, I'll hold on the phone here. Tornado in. Warden M getting real low on the doorman. League able to dash back away, poking around Fish Cake. Goober in and over. League able to find Fish Cake towards the very end. The Jin's Mark doing the last bit of damage as Lord and M at actually just 1 HP here, Jake. 1 HP and running. And Goober smelling a little bit of blood and water. Don't know if they'll be able to find it, but yeah, okay. They see the healing right. They see him far away. It goes, okay, I'll just take the Guardian. But
oh my god, that melee.
Jake, the Connect Dash, I feel like it's still kind of one of the more underbuilt items in the game for the amount of raw stats it gives you.
Yeah, I think it's a good call out. Pull deep under tower now. Rokane looks like the shielding tanks him up for the moment, but does he have another escape after that sanguine retreat? He may need it. And Furnace looking to go chase and try to turn this around, try to get that burn online. This is turning into a brawl now on the right side lane. So many players coming into this fight from both teams. For now, just a 1-for-1 trade, but Calico still relatively low. Same for DMB.
Ooh. Back behind the truck, Carbine gonna connect in between the Mirage and the Paradox. Nowhere for Scout to escape to. And after Scout goes down, this Guardian is just gonna get ripped to shreds, Jake.
Yeah, the power of the Mirage TP pretty early. Goober's defending the other side lane. Looks like Rokane went over to assist him in that defense. And it's a 3-for-0 in the Guardian takes here. Great opening to the game for a Sneaky Golem right now. Melee creeps countering with the DMB push on mid, but they're still both side lane Guardians up, and one of them is very healthy. So problems have been beginning to emerge here just in the early game for the melee creeps.
Yeah, and you take a look at how the late game may be turning out here. It's not ideal when the Yamato is at a pretty good spot in the game. And again, maybe it's a little bit critical. We'll see if the Gun Warden build that John is going with here will pass muster. But in terms of heroes that are going to carry your farm, if you had to go between an 8K Gun Warden and an 8K Yamato, you're going to take the Yamato every time.
Yeah, nice kill. Onto Rocker, though. Trying to take down John. He's relatively tanky on this Warden, though. Not the easiest kill. Dancing with the Mina. Risky with a threat of those quick bursts to finish her off. But Mina herself has to be a little bit careful, worried about her HP. Uses that unique movement tech. Of course, when Mina aims down sight, you get like that floaty movement tech with the umbrella, which allows you to do some kind of interesting strafe moves.
A little bit back and forth near the bridge. Scout and Hydration gonna go their separate ways. So dust is settled here from some of the skirmishing. 2 Guardians still up for Sneaky Golem. No Guardians left up for melee creeps in turn. And now up to left middle. Maybe a little bit of an invade here once more from Rocker and AVG. Instead going off to the right hand side, and we'll see how this contact turns out.
DMB getting what he can out of the map here. Getting caught into more fights than I think he would like here on the Infernus. Still has a bit of HP to work with, and he's gonna double down. Wants to turn this around on Hydration. Thinks he's bit off more than Hydration can really stand and fight. And DMB, that burn pays off. Good turnaround, good confidence there from the pause one. A little bit of a risk, but this time comes in for a kill and puts DMB nearly on top of the net worth for his team.
Chasing Infernus with Flame Dash down the stairs in that instance is generally suicide. It is not the place to fight an Infernus. The Chow transformation forced out here. AVG on the chase down. Got 3 blue all around, trying to get in and around. Gets the parry. No way is AVG gonna get out. Still low HP. Chase down still happening. Not quite able to get away. DMB with the final shots towards the end. League, though, other end of the map, takes the fight to the doorman.
Oh, and this is a lot of walker pressure here being applied by Sneaky Golem. They want to open this first walker, and I don't know that the defense is coming. I mean, Abrams going back to base to heal, but I just don't see it for the creeps. This could be the first walker taken at just 11 minutes into the game. An incredible level of pace and tempo here for Sneaky Golem.
Yep, and it's a Trooper. I didn't quite catch the number, but the Trooper finishing off the walker at the very end. A soldier that will live on in legend. And now, Earn, when you go for the Earn pickup, it just barely dodged the hook. Saya clenching a little bit before the pickup.
Yeah, just a little scary, but read the hook. I mean, read the threat that it could be coming down. It's nice moves from Saya. Take this rotate over. Still, the drop off, much more difficult question, right? This is one where Sneaky Golem, they know you're coming. Do you still want that smoke? Do you still want to go for this fight? Very small soul lead has developed for Sneaky Golem, but I think that's largely a function of the extra objectives. And while Shiv's not really threatening the Earn drop, there's a pretty big push from melee creeps here on that left side. So when you don't want to get caught in mid, though, is the Warden. Nice parry. That's probably going to keep him alive. John, great outplay in the mid. Takes the pressure, stays alive, continues to hold that mid lane, and looks like the fight on the left side is much better for melee creeps for that.
Warden just getting isolated again. Meanwhile, Guardian here under pressure. In on the left, last Guardian to go here for Sneaky Golem. So melee creeps able to get that and going through the door on the escape. Goober, meanwhile, looking for Scout. Scout low HP, can't quite make it to the door. Lasered on down by Goober, who's quietly been having a pretty good game here so far. Jail out onto AVG, but no fall through after the binding word.
Earn drop here, coming in from the Paradox. And the control on the map that Sneaky Golem would earn from that fight now pays its dividend. Solely is starting to open up now, nearly 10K. Guardian did go down though, so the flex slot is now back even. Although I guess you still have an extra one for that Walker drop the Sneaky Golem were able to get. I mean, I can't believe we lost a Walker 10 minutes into the game. That is really crazy between two teams at this level. But it shows the Sneaky Golem aren't afraid of bringing that pace. And League, very farmed. 4-1-1 on this Mirage. Pretty big gun investment. Honestly, they have quite a few players with strong gun investment. So the threat of taking towers, super real for the Sneaky Golem draft. And they have pretty great tempo to boot.
Also, the holiday build from Sai is a little bit interesting, where, you know, in the past, you'd see maybe an earlier Fleetfoot. In this case, you go Surge of Power for the same effect, and you throw it on your barrel, a little bit more extra burst damage, and the Slowing Hex, either to set up Lasso or make sure people don't get away post-Lasso. You know, a lot of that you have to think is itemized with hydration in mind.
Yeah, you definitely got to think so. The map, still pretty even, though. I mean, I feel that melee creeps are doing a really solid job of keeping control, right? They haven't yielded a significant amount of the map in terms of the camps available to farm. It doesn't feel like the lead is getting worse. If anything, with less objective mistakes, maybe that rate of expansion is slowing, but that right side Walker does start to look pretty tasty below half health. You can see melee creeps concentrating their players here. They know the threat of that push is very real.
Yeah, melee creeps going around the right. Also, John very ready to fight. Ult is good to go, though. The ult may not be as scary. He's full gun build. Checking the build after AVG, though. Shadow Transformation cuts down Saya where he stands, goes through the door. The door is not shut, and says, Dorman, I'll use your door against you. And Lord NM has to reflexively send Yamato into the Baroness and just dies on the outside. Can't even greet AVG on checkout.
Now Shiv in the sights, can't just hold this. And that beautiful parry as well, adding insult to injury. And this could be, there's a thought about going mid-boss. John's used his ultimate. Couldn't really come into that fight in a meaningful way. Maybe it'll just be buffs and farm. The safer choice here for Sneaky Golem as they look to expand this lead. And I mean, in fairness, you really don't want to throw away this advantage. This is the team that just defeated you in that big tournament in the last weekend. And instead, they just wisely increment that, right? Taking down the second Walker now on the right side lane. And now the map continues to close in on melee creeps.
You know what I feel like, Jake? I feel like the Bebop inflation is going to continue here, where Bebop got picked a little bit earlier in the draft, and now I feel like Bebop is going to be first 2 picks in the next game, the way this is going, if not banned outright, should Sneaky Golem win.
Oh, beautiful swap there. Catches the Holiday, denying Saya's initiation. Saya, though, really sweet moves to dance out of that one. Manages to avoid getting caught in a compromising position. DMB, though, sees the opportunity to strike. Mirage TP coming in. They're trying to bail out this Bebop, who's ticking down, but may have the HP to walk away from this one.
Yeah, just barely. If there's any chase down, Goober would have bit it, but instead, they had their hands full. Mirage, who TP'd in, knocks Nostra in from Arcane, looking to burn down Scout. Scout, it will just walk away after taking that League. So League ends up taking the fall for Goober, who is otherwise caught in off the Traveler. 1 pick here for melee creeps, and we'll see what they get from it. Right now, Jake, they're angling to try and get the right Walker.
You got to give credit to DMB, man. The initiation timings when he does commit on Synvertus have been really strong. Here comes Yamato walking in with the Shadow Transform. Looking for more now is the Bebop. Big catch here. Goober grabs one. Shib on the exit. Can't get out of that one. Shib falls further behind in the game. League coming back in off the TP. They're looking for more kills. That could lead into a mid-boss. Big swap on a DMB. This would be maybe the most impactful kill on the map. And DMB just on a sliver of HP trying to play his way out of this one.
Easier said than done, but once more, this has been the fan of DMB, the sewer rat, as it were, continually able to use the tunnels to escape. That's probably like the third time this game, but it's not the only one down and dirty. Scout just taken down by 3. So still a rough turn of events for melee creeps, and okay, it was looking like early controls. Maybe we're gonna go to AVG. AVG instead sees a low HP DMB, looks to fall through, gets a power strike. The spirit shielding was used, but now it's gone, and so is DMB.
The loot delivery. DMB comes out of the teleporter, out of the frying pan, into the fire. Yamato doesn't have Shadow Transform, so Fishcake sees a chance to punish, but he's forced to consider threatening the mid-boss. I mean, surely he's executable, right?
Yeah, he is. Killing
there
blow,
it is. Oh, but just when the rejuve came in! Oh my god, that was pixel perfect. And now Yamato's going to turn this one right around on him, although hold on. Oh, that wait. This could be so damaging. This would be mental damage, but Yamato's tanky. She's surviving through it all. Shiv, the bloodletting too much. And he ticks out. Oh my god, that rejuve timing is absurd for ABG.
That feels bad for Fishcake, especially given the fact that Fishcake nearly turned the rematch instantly. But yeah, the timing just nothing but brutal. Speaking of parries, though, AVG just continues to whiff hands.
Oh, counter parry.
But stays alive.
Yeah, the counter parry from Hydration protects ABG, and that also leads Scout to be overextended and caught. DMB, though, senses an opportunity here in the chaos, and maybe with ultimates deployed, resources starting to run low, and even an urn in play, you got to take your chances when you find them. And surely this is Hydration burning down. Instant concussive combustion. Is it too early? No, perfect timing there. Punishes Hydration, who's really low on CDs. Question is, though, does DMB want to stay committed into this one? He's the highest net worth player. Sneaky Golem bringing numbers to this one. You might have taken their crystals, but you have not taken down real players, real valuable bodies. And it's nearing a team wipe situation here, ZB.
You've taken down the Temu team. You haven't taken down the authentic, expensive, high-quality team is what you're really going on there. But also completely correct, as they get the rejuves, but they pay dearly in overall team pressure. 5 members of melee creeps end up falling. And you take a look at the map, it's not looking much better. Another walker falling thereafter. The lead ballooning now, Jake, to 30,000. And you take a look at melee creeps, and the win conditions have narrowed significantly. Also, I gotta say, observers, can we get a view of John? We haven't checked in on the John build in a while. I'm just curious where this warden went to in the end.
Looks like Gun Warden. Okay.
All right.
Pretty standard, pretty default. Yeah, a lot of threat, I guess, in catching people off in these individual engagements. But speaking of catching people off, man, Goober is 4-0 and 10 on the Bebop. League 7-2 and 8. And I mean, these are really your late game gun carries for Sneaky Golem. They're having immaculate performances, exactly what you need in a game like this. DMB has been really scrappy on the Infernus, though. He's kept this one very interesting, has found these engage timings. And in fairness, you still haven't broken the base yet. So the toughest task still on the cards. That swap, though, on the Lord and Nem catches him silence from the wall, as well as the slowing hex, but the pin in from Abrams is good, and that's one down for Sneaky Golem. Maybe the creeps getting a taste of this fight, and they're liking what they find. Great ultimate now from the Warden, trying to stick on this Bebop.
All right, John over and in. Remember, the main threat is the gun, not the ult. The ult really hasn't been powered up too much, and John just gets uppercut, sent down, taking a little bit of refuge here, down into the underground. The rest of the team up in front of him. 3 down from Sneaky Golem here so far. Melee creeps making their stand here, Jake. See if they can get a few more. Hydration, though, in off the side, does flank over, finds John in the end. Sneaky Golem evening it out, and it's just Rokane and League up against DMB.
I like the way melee creeps are playing this one. They're keeping it so scrappy. It's just kind of impossible for now, at least, for Sneaky Golem to really find the backbreaking moment they're looking for. Still, pretty significant soul lead, right? We're talking a 30k soul gap. It's not exactly in stat checks territory, ZP, but it's sort of getting there, right? You know, I kind of can't believe that melee creeps are stringing together these competitive fights, considering the soul deficit they're up against.
Yeah, I mean, you have to take scrappy fights. You have to look for anything that looks like you have an advantage if you want to bring this. Oh no, the lasso Not quite heading the holiday, instead just getting stuck there on the corner. League super low, burns on down. Off the catch by Saya, but that's the way you start getting back into this. If you can escape without getting punished, and that is a big if right now as Saya gets caught on the back end side, Jake.
Yeah, ABG doesn't want to get back out of this one yet. And the hook is good onto the Warden. He has the urn. He wants to slip out of this one. It's such a valuable resource. Another hook denies the escape. Goober styling on him. 3 down for the melee creep. Sneaky Golem. This could be the backbreaking moment they've been looking for. Hydration grabs the urn. He's going to go dump that one in, but the kills feasting here are Goober and the rest of Sneaky Golem. Now it's just a matter of pushing into the base. Mid lane, a little bit against you, a little bit bad, and the spawn timer is low enough where melee creeps will be able to mount the defense, but the lead, it just feels like it keeps expanding.
The win conditions have just gotten so incredibly narrow here. I think melee creeps, in terms of finding fights that are potentially winnable, they've done a good job of it, Jake, but the issue is that when Sneaky Golem is this far ahead, you're not dealing with fights that you are in control of your own destiny of. You require Sneaky Golem to make mistakes on top of you finding good plays, and Sneaky Golem, they aren't making the mistakes that would be required for melee creeps to get back into this game right now.
Let's go blue.
Still, I feel like melee creeps have some more fight left in them. Like, they're still taking these engagements. They're not scared of coming out on the map and taking the trades when they see the opportunity. DMB has been the tip of the spear time and time again. And this Infernus, he still does damage. He still cooks. John Judd's ultimate, another story. You know, the Warden ultimate looks pretty sus when it comes. Basically, just some nice resistances when it comes to this build.
Honestly, it's just it's like the hazard lights on a car. You hear blink, 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 blink. It's not actually doing any damage at this point for Warden's ult. Like, because you haven't put anything into it spirit-wise. I mean, it has some base damage, but, you know, realistically, John is all gun, and a 20k gun Warden at this point versus Sneaky Golem is, you know, going to be opportunistic at best.
Melee creeps kind of intimate a push on this tower, but they don't end up committing for it. I think that's wise. I mean, the major rotate was coming in. Sneaky Golem absolutely would love to get a fight off, right? Mid boss is up in a minute. I think melee creeps know it. They kind of want to bring the mid boss into play. They kind of want to put some more stakes on this fight. When you're behind, you kind of want to start gambling. You want to start taking risks. And maybe the mid boss will be just that. Nonetheless, the lead pretty significant. And Sneaky Golem, they're not taking any big risks, right? They're playing this very patiently, riding this one out, waiting for that mid boss to come up until they really look for that decisive engagement.
Also, Saya just on the full utility run here. We're both slowing Hex and Silence Wave, so really just focused on making plays in the holiday, and it's kind of the spot that you're in right now if you're Saya. You actually do need to get a pick here. And the team up with Abrams, this is just hanging out middle, going next person to show middle. Maybe we go for a lasso and a follow-through, but if you don't get this pick, there's not a ton of way for Sneaky Golem to get back into this game.
It's interesting to see
melee creeps to get back into this game.
Like how passive Sneaky Golem are right now. Although Diviner's Kevlar on ABG is a big pickup, that's going to let him really do a lot more in terms of pushing this risk. Sneaky Golem now looking to get active here on the mid lane. Melee creeps already dropping low on a few players, and ABG coming in here like a nuclear missile here on the Yamato. Lasso is good on the Mina, but they don't have the follow-up damage. She gets the E-shift off. She should be okay out of this one. 2 down already for the creeps, and Sneaky Golem looking to finish this here. Yamato not even forced to pop Shadow Transform just yet. That's a real statement about the situation in this game. Mid-boss just spawned. Perfect timing here for Sneaky Golem. If they want to take it down, they're thinking about maybe looking for more kills. Yeah, okay, the mid-boss does come in. Outfire from Paradox. Surely you'll be able to clean this one up. No problem, considering the soul spot.
Okay, Lord NM, time to fight the slander in chat. Vegas is out here cooking you in the middle of Twitch chat as we speak. Do you get the Ido level steal against all odds? Right now, it's looking like there may not even be an attempt.
I don't even know if you go for it. It's so risky.
I mean, then again, at this point, you lose towards the rejuve anyways. As it turns out, okay, Lord M is there, and he's dead.
Oh my god, where did he go, bro? Holy.
To the floor.
Bro went to a little nap in the Baroness Hotel there. It's not a free hotel. You don't just get a nap. It's not preschool, bro. You got to pay rent.
I mean, to be fair, they didn't let Lord NM into the hotel. They kicked him out and put him in the middle of the mid-boss pit and said, take your nap there. I'm not sure, you know, the hotel had its own standards in the moment.
Dude, ABG is so tanky on this build, man. Like, good luck killing this Yamato. Absolutely disgusting build. Insane amounts of heal with that max power. So she actually didn't max the ultimate. It's a pretty interesting build. Prio'd both of his damaging skills. And now his transcendent cooldown. So the uptime on this Yamato and her ability to heal and sustain through these fights is going to be pretty crazy. Essentially a free earn drop for Sneaky Golem. And now it's starting to feel like rote memorization here. I mean, Sneaky Golem doing everything they need to progress this game. However, hey, Saya finding a good start to the fight. Swap misses. The hook is good. Where did he go? Just absolutely deleted by that damage. And Goober's getting active now on the Bebop, man. Coming in, just clicking heads with this laser. A hook as well. Doesn't even get to pull him in. I was already down on the Abrams.
Jake, it's called death by bomb there, and Saya just went boom in the end. So yeah, 3 down with Rejuve into a hook just for good measure. Put the cop to bed. Well, John, not getting out of that one. And yeah, that is going to be GG. And Sneaky Golem, Jake, they're on the revenge tour after what was a rough weekend in the Trolli tournament. They did their draft homework. They came out swinging. And in terms of defending the crown here on Deadlock Night Shift, it's looking like map 1 will be theirs.
Last cannon purchase for John. This is the real last stand. I know these are the ultimates called last stand, but this is the real last stand when you buy glass cannon on Warden. See if it's enough. See if Lord and them can maybe find the hotel kidnap. DMB just already calls it GG. I mean, in fairness, 3 crystals, Yamato ultimate. I don't see any hope here for Melee Creeps. Mina ulting from the low ground in the pit. ABG just focused up doing work here on the Patron, and the damage is just overwhelming. You can barely even get the crystals out. Sneaky Golem up 1-0 in the series.
Also, I just gotta do due deference here, taking a look at the public reaction. Vegas is leading an actual revolt against Lord NM in the chat. It is you got the war in game and you got the war in chat. Jason, you're gonna be a neutral arbiter. What did you see?
Lord NM, go home. You suck. Get out of here. I'm not going to be neutral. No, I'm just kidding. I think he did fairly well. I mean, he was definitely doing exceptional when it came to like souls. He definitely looked like he's been practicing quite a bit when it comes to his doorman. But, you know, beyond him, I think some struggles that we did see on the side of Melee Creeps was like in particular Fish Cake on the Shiv. It's not very often we see Shivs kind of fall behind and stay behind and not really be effective and have some sort of presence in these games. I almost feel like that 1v1 against AVG with the Rejuve take for AVG at the last second kind of broke his spirits a little bit, because he just never got going in that game and he never had the opportunity to be a threat that we saw him just a few days prior.
Guys, I'm telling you, Bebop is going first pick. I swear to God, it's happening in this series. I think they should, honestly. I think it's so impactful. I think the reason is because both of these teams look like night and day different teams when they have the Bebop. They both have really strong individual comfort players on the role. It's very good right now in the meta, but also it allows you, I think with this NA style right now, the way teams are playing, I think the Bebop is actually a pretty crucial hero. There's a lot of these opportunities where teams are kind of dancing with each other, taking those FPS aim duels, and Bebop can allow you to just cut right through the center of that. And look at that timing. That timing is crazy. They literally just got the crystals after he pressed the ultimate, but before he connects.
Yeah, and to that point, like I kind of call out mid-game when we just saw how everything developed, especially with Goober on the Bebop. I think there was a bit of gamesmanship from Melee Creeps where they thought they could get Bebop towards the very end of the first round of the draft. That wasn't the case. Sneaky Golem said, we got ourselves a Goober. We're going to put Goober on the Bebop. So the net reaction here from Melee Creeps is probably going to prioritize Bebop even earlier in the draft, as you're mentioning. If I'm Sneaky Golem, though, I arguably get ahead of it. I almost feel like giving up the Victor is less of a pain than giving up the Bebop here if you can ban it. Assuming that you are first pick. If you're second pick, then you still kind of have to ban the Kelvin because giving up Kelvin is rough. And also that is...
Somebody get this,
had it out for Lord NM.
Somebody write this man a lullaby.
They're putting him until he faded away, man.
They're putting him to sleep in this game, man. And John had a rough game on the Warden, man. The Gun Warden is not it for me. I'm like, you know what? I know it's all in with the ultimate. I know when you have no ultimate on Spirit Warden, you're literally just a range creep. But I don't care, man. You got to rip it in with that Majestic Leap, all in Spirit Warden, and just full send in some of those team fights. But in fairness, the way the game is played right now, it's really hard to actually find that kind of a clean engage.
I think we know why Yodi's their manager and not a coach, because he said he's figured out the Gun Warden trust. Well, we trusted and it didn't work out too well, Yodi. So I don't know what you're gonna have to say about that one. But I do also wonder if we think about how the pick ban goes, since Melee Creeps lost, they get choice of first ban or second ban. If you take second ban, then that means, sorry, if you take first ban, that means you could ban Victor. And if they don't ban Kelvin, you can sneak in Kelvin for your team.
Yes.
Or you could sneak in Bebop. So I feel like it's almost like a guarantee lock-in for them that they need to be taking this first ban here, ZP.
Yeah, I think that is a likely outcome. I mean, the other option is that you want to, go for a lesser commitment. You can take second and then go for Bebop second and then still get another premium pick. I think how you weigh the Bebop in the beginning is going to be pretty darn crucial into this next draft. Also, look, I want to give into the chat. The chat is just spamming Lord Nomo in a way that I've never seen the chat spam before. But the reality is that Melee Creeps did have a lot of their success on Lord NM on the Mo and Krill, and Melee Creeps is the one that banned the Mo and Krill because they didn't want to deal with a Bebop plus Mo combo. So you do wonder here, if you get the Bebop, do you also want to take, precautions, make sure you get the Mo early, and then are you giving up too much power in the draft if you prioritize Bebop and Mo that early in a draft?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think the DMB didn't really get to show it in this game, but looking back on the event we just had this weekend, his Infernus was kind of insane. It was ridiculous to the point that he was able to like 1v1 anyone and would have 10,000 plus souls compared to everyone else on his team. But he wasn't gifted an opportunity this time. But do you prioritize his Infernus, which was one of the top picks we had, over the likes of the Bebop Mo, as you're saying? Because you also had, again, Shiv be one of the highly invested heroes that they play. The Doorman wasn't necessarily it at the time, since it was Mo for Lord and M. But then also John just got so heavily targeted when it came to the bans, and you saw how it worked out. Like Jake, he just really wasn't effective on the Warden period in this game.
Yeah, it did fall flat this game. I do want to give credit where credit is due, though, man. DMB, I feel like almost single-handedly kept this game in play. Like, found some really nice moments to go in for initiation, like call the bluff, sneaky golem, go on him on the side lanes, and he actually turns around some of those fights. That actually keeps this game going, where this could have been a blowout like maybe 10 minutes earlier, but a lot of those fight backs able to like get rid of one of the early sets of rejuves, being able to like take some of those big traded fights. They don't become like dominant wins for Melee Creeps, but from the position they were in, the soul disadvantage they were in, it allows them to stay alive. So I would love to see them give DMB the Infernus again. I would just maybe rather see a Bebop go as well with it in that first two.
And on the Infernus note, ZPU and I talked about this, Jake, unfortunately wasn't there, that we feel like DMB has massively grown into a player. And I just wanted you to reiterate that for anyone who's watching today that I didn't get to catch us over the weekend. He is drastically improved as a player.
Yeah, I mean, the proof was in the pudding. When you looked at this last match and then also the Trolli tournament over the weekend, I think if you go far enough back into Deadlock history, you could argue DMB was one of the weakest players on some of those early Hydro Nation teams. He was oftentimes getting picked early. Now he's turned into a player that's a very difficult pickoff, will farm very effectively, be a huge carry force in fights, as we saw, in Infernus, even in a losing game. So DMB's game sense is just radically improved in my mind over the last 6 months or so. And look, it's kind of evident that we're in the early parts of a game and players do level up over time. And I think DMB is definitely one of those cases.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to round out our first map in this series. Sneaky Golem now one match away from taking home the $1,000. I'd say slightly redeeming themselves over the course of the weekend. We'll be back after the break to see how this series plays out.
Be very quiet. He's sleeping.
I hope he's sleeping because he ain't moving. We also did just get an update, a celebrity update, apparently. After a positive interaction with the Deadlock community, Justin Bieber's posted on his Instagram story that he'll pledge 50 gifted sub to Twitch subscriptions for every kill low main got in map 1.
No
which
cap.
Is 0. So thanks, Justin Bieber, for your support. But unfortunately, we didn't get any kills for him in that last game. And what comes around, what goes around comes around. After Lord and M did a little bit of trash talking in his winter interview against Vegas, as Vegas has been all up in chat, making sure he receives it when he is down. But that is not Melee Creeps out, to be fair, ZP, as they still have one more chance here to take it to a map 3.
Look, regardless of the specifics, the number one thing that has come out of this is the term floor man. I was dying in the middle of the break of all the floor man spam. Now, what you've learned is that anytime you get a doorman in your game that isn't performing, that is dying a lot, yeah, exactly like that, just gotta get called the floor man. But a new term has been born today.
It's great. In CS, we have these great little graffitis that are on in game for like individual plays in majors. And Deadlock,
we could get
we immortalize it with
Get like a chalk outline in the sewer right there.
And that is going to be Lord of Them in his floor, man. But you know what? Obviously, we give him some smack. I think Vegas is definitely right in doing so. But they still have a chance. They still, I think, as we were like theorizing before the break, is that we could see a massive shift up in our pick and bans here, and it looks like Melee Creeps will indeed be going for that first pick. So, Jake, as we were talking about, if they go Victor, it's up to Sneaky Golem to take away Kelvin. If they don't take away Kelvin, or if they do take away Kelvin, then you could get that Bebop as a first pick.
Yeah, I'm assuming Kelvin and Victor are first ban. That's been remarkably stable today. Is that 100% so far? That those two, I mean, whichever order, have been first ban. So there's been no variance as far as that first ban. And typically, it's been the team with first pick who bans Victor. The team with second pick takes away Kelvin, because I think Kelvin is just a prize too big. I mean, there's going to come a point where someone's going to get Kelvin and be like, wait, we haven't played Kelvin in like a month. We don't know what to do. It's not going to look that good.
Yeah, I mean, you actually bring up a really good point, is that when a hero hits permaban status, at some point your actual practice on the hero just goes into the gun. Wait.
This is
they
too
ban
crazy.
the Bebop and say, take Kelvin. Okay, Bebop is good. Bebop's good, but you do realize Kelvin is Kelvin. Sneaky Golem may be a little bit too close to the sun here. That's wild.
No, this is wild, but honestly, respect, because I am pretty sure Bebop was going first this game. Like, I'm telling you, if they banned Kelvin, it was a first pick Bebop. And so we'll see if it comes back to bite them in the ass, if letting this Kelvin through is just like too big of a risk. But I actually think that this Bebop is really core to Melee Creep's strategy, and there's something to be said for Melee Creeps taking that crucial tool away from John.
But Saya's been vocal. He even said he doesn't play Kelvin. We saw him play it a few weeks back when Melee Creeps finally came back together to play in the night.
Is Saya the Kelvin player? I guess maybe, right?
He is the Kelvin player. Yeah. I mean, I remember I made a couple clips of him, the Formula 1 Kelvin, where he came in from mid lane to save Fish Cake while he was thrown into the Doorman ultimate with a frozen shelter to save his life. I mean, he plays it, but he doesn't play it actively, and it kind of is the opposite of like what kind of player Saya is.
It's not the easiest hero to pilot either, right? Like it does require you to have good time. I mean, the lane is pretty easy. I gotta say, the lane is not that hard, right? The lane, let's be real, doesn't take a genius to press the frost beam on people in the lane and throw snowballs at them. But I think later in the game, like timing the dome, team fighting around it, and you know how you dome around objectives can be interesting. But I love the Infernus second pick. You got to give DMB his prio. He was doing big things for you last game. Put that respect on him, give him the power pick early, and hey, maybe even this Kelvin can enable him to new heights.
Okay, two things here. I think if you're Melee Creeps, you actually probably need to pick the Geist, because either Sneaky Golem is going to pick the Geist against you, or they are going to ban it. And if you want to protect John's hero pool, okay, there they go.
Great call.
They had to pick it here because I think Sneaky Golem may have picked it and then dropped a ban on top of it to just annihilate what remained of John's hero pool. So that was a hero pool protect pick coming in from Melee Creeps. Now for Sneaky Golem, here's what I'm wondering about. Are you petty enough? Do you buy into the own propaganda that's being thrown out by Vegas and Chad and echoed by millions? Do you ban the Mo and Krill just because you believe that Lord NM on any hero other than Mo and Krill is good for you here, in the sense that it has been one of his big comfort heroes? That's what I'm curious about here.
That would be devious. That would be truly devious. I also wouldn't mind if they grab the Viscous for at some point in this draft, or maybe that's something that Melee Creeps might want to ban away.
You know, I have so many thoughts going through my head right now. As the
All right,
Vegas,
the Lord
how much did you pay Sneaky Golem to do that?
The Lord Novo accusations have been leveled.
None.
The jury is in
session. This feels like the biggest spike draft of all time from Sneaky Golem, by the way. It's like, we're taking your Bebop, we're taking your Mo, screw you, you're not beating us with these heroes again. This is what we've learned from the Trolli tournament.
But, so guys, I want to bring it...
is high. They give up Kelvin and Infernus. Like, that's expensive.
I want to bring up like one serious topic though about Melee Creeps as we looked at it then, is that I was very nitpicky of John in the past, like Bebop, Warden. If that's the only two heroes you can be known for, that's a big detriment to your team. But having like two players potentially, since the jury's still out, with Lord NM and Mo and Krill, and John on his Bebop or Geist, do you really want to have to third pick a Geist in these matches because you need to protect John's hero pool? I feel like that's like a weak link within the team. What's your thoughts, ZP?
Yeah, I mean, it clearly hurts. And obviously, when you look at how Sneaky Golem is drafting, they are specifically going after that, because I think 100%, the Mo memes aside, they would have either picked Geist or picked Mo and banned the other if they had the opportunity. They just had to settle on banning Mo. And, what I'm curious on here, okay, you could go, Lord NM played the Doorman, it wasn't very effective. You look at the comp for Sneaky Golem, if Doorman isn't picked up now by melee creeps, Sneaky Golem could go the Doorman here, and that put Lord NM on something like Lash, which I don't think is very good right now relative to other heroes. So, realistically, if I'm Sneaky Golem, I'm actually angling towards a Doorman pick in one of the final two.
I like the Mina, though. I think Sneaky Golem are kind of lacking in catch right now. It's pretty much just Paradox right now, and not an easy character to catch as the Mina, right? Especially when she has the debuff remover, like that wall silence, not really going to do the job. You need some like hard stuns and lockdown. Maybe there's an Abrams still to be picked here for Sneaky Golem. Instead, they go with the Pocket for now. But I would love to see some sort of hard control, like team fight stunner for Sneaky Golem. They have a lot of damage and a lot of frontline. I'm just not seeing how they actually lock down these melee creeps players and deal the damage that they want to deal. Like DMB's Infernus feels like he could just kind of kite back infinitely based on the draft so far.
Well, I think we're also maybe seeing some weakness in melee creep side. If Saya has to play the Kelvin, you don't have a Holiday player, do you?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've seen Scout in the past play Holiday, but you're lacking your catch if you pick up a Kelvin like this, if you force the same player who does initiate to play support.
Because I feel like you do want a pickoff hero, right? Bebop span. I mean, Holiday just makes so much sense here. I feel like somebody else has to be able to play Kelvin, right? So you can let Saya still play.
I can tell you who. It's probably gonna be Lord NM on the Kelvin, given these hero pools, and Saya on the Mina.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Like, Lord NM has played Kelvin in the past. And in terms of what we've seen melee creeps play, I don't know if they have another go-to to play Mina, so I don't think it's going to be Sion Kelvin at all. I think it's Sion Mina, and it's going to be Lord NM on the Kelvin. Now, Lord NM on the Kelvin in the past was kind of like mixed. I don't remember it being particularly bad. I don't remember it being particularly good. I will say that just given the temperature of the community right now, when you're playing what is kind of the undisputed best hero in the game, there's going to be all the pressure in the world on you to have the best frozen shelters of your life, or the community is just going to point and laugh, maybe unjustifiably, by the way. Like, this is actually such a high pressure game for Lord NM if he's actually playing the Kelvin.
Bro, the Floorman emo is popping off. We've got Vegas, we've got Diplomat, Hypno, Naked, Crayon, Deathy, Leffa, all adding to their channel to be used. This is going to live in infamy here. And well, poor Lord NM, he's never going to live that one down. Maybe he could pop off at a game if they can take it to game 3 and he gets himself a Doorman. But as we take a look at these compositions here, I mean, Sneaky Golem definitely want to get in your face with the 3 bruiser heroes. Jake, if you look at compositions alone, ignoring the teams, who would you kind of favor in this situation?
I think Kelvin puts it over the top for melee creeps. I think Infernus is going to cook this game. I think there's a lack of control for Infernus. I think he could really go crazy, and especially with Kelvin able to turn things around and isolate Shivs and Yamatos who think they can take that fight, but then you suddenly get blocked in like a 4-on-1, and even Shadow Transformation and even bloodletting from Shiv. There's just not enough when you're in those sort of like really tough scenarios. I think Saya could have a very big game on Mina as well due to the little bit lack of control the draft came out here for Sneaky Golem. So honestly, I think Sneaky Golem may have cooked a little too hard with this draft, and I think melee creeps have the advantage. That being said, we got to see the Lord Nomo accusations. They've been leveled. It's time for Lord NM to step up to the plate and show us what he's got if he's on this Kelvin.
Well, let's see how it's going to break down here. Will we have a map 3, or will it end with Sneaky Golem taking home the $1,000? Let's find out with ZP and Jake.
Oh, it's a Saya. Okay, it is a Saya Kelvin, right? I think I just saw. I think it's a Lord of M Abrams.
Okay, yeah, that also in previous hero pools would make sense. Honestly, I'm kind of happy for that, just because the amount of pressure on Lord NM playing Kelvin would just be wild if that were the case. I do think, though, this is like, on paper, I agree that the Kelvin puts melee creeps over the top, but it's also something, I don't think they have a ton of comeback potential here, Jake. I think if they fall behind, especially when you're running things like Mina that want to be ahead, if melee creeps falls behind, their comeback potential, I think, actually gets a little bit limited just with the lack of playmakers. So they have to ensure that the early game is at least even, in my mind.
I see Infernus.
Definitely is important considering the stakes on this match, right? I think both of these teams want to show they have what it takes. A lot to prove here on the line for the top 2 dogs in North America. Shout out to our Twitch subs, our YouTube members, the good people in the YouTube chat. We don't forget about you, YouTube chat. We're around. Nobody's talking in the YouTube chat, but we know you're there. YouTube's for the TV watchers, though. Let's be real. Watching in the living room, feet up.
Yep.
Diet Coke in hand.
Of course. I mean, how else? And also, most importantly, in recent events, a bag of Trolli goes right with it. No sugar in the Diet Coke, but a little bit. From
Yeah, a bag of Trolli and a Diet Coke goes crazy. That goes hard. Deadly combo. And I mean, look at this lane pressure put on by Yamato and Paradox. Just that time bomb is just shoving this lane, making it really awkward. Maintaining this prio. They're not giving it up easy, man. AVG wants to just repeat last game, wants to keep that pressure on and force a crack in the melee creeps facade here.
And this lane is still really important too, where on one hand you have the early game power of Mina and Geist, but if for whatever reason it doesn't work out in your way, Scout's not going to have the power spike that we saw Saya have back in the challenging match. So this lane is really, really important to dictating the tempo of the rest of the game. But also, do we have a swap going on here?
What is going on here?
Yeah, full swap.
What the hell? Did they miss creeps from this? This is kind of some wild moves going on here. I guess not. They're showing up to defend this. They lost a bit of tower HP. This is a wild box run from Saya. Absolutely macroing like a demon right now on Kelvin.
The full box run. Although it's kind of interesting. I mean, box runs give you quite a bit of economy, but you also have to be really careful on the timing. I feel like one of the bigger differences between like Ascendant and Eternus right now is that at Ascendant, people just go like, I don't care about the stats in my lane. I box run. And it's just like, we've lost the Guardian. It's all, over. It's like you actually have to really time when to go on your box runs.
It's like the pin was good from Lord NM, but just under the Guardian. A little too scary to stay in for that one. Shiv Calico, of course, immense damage can be brought to bear by this lane, so the clapback is very real. DMB doesn't want to get into a tower diving situation this early on the Infernus. Oh, the denies. Painful.
Taking a look at HP. HP relatively even across the board right now. Maybe a little bit more Guardian pressure on the right-hand side in favor of melee creeps, but the early game, even relative to the last game, Jake, still kind of waiting for one side or the other to get an edge. In a way, though, too, the amount of box running going on, both teams kind of taking a little bit slow in the amount of pressure being applied, at least so far.
Oh, big dive in. Guy slow. Power slash. Good cleanup here. Love Bites, though, could turn this one around. Threat of the counter kill from the Mina, but maybe even she's bitten off a little more than she can chew. Paradox assisting Goober, putting a lot of pressure on in this mid lane.
That just developed spontaneously too. We were just looking at the HP. John was looking pretty good, and just like that, AVG and Goober connect to find significant pressure. Also, we didn't bring it up, but in terms of hero pool stuff, this is the first time we've seen Goober on the Paradox in a while. Usually it's been Rocker playing it, but when Sneaky Golem gets Shiv, it goes Prio over the Rocker instead.
I gotta say, they just annihilated mid lane. I mean, a 4-minute Guardian take at this level? Goober and AVG taking over. AVG is gonna be able to free farm this lane. I think he's fine to 1v2. And Goober can just roam, man. The buff's coming up in 30 seconds here. Side lanes are on notice, man. The roam threat from mid is super real right now.
Yeah, and Goober is one that will usually make the most of that opportunity. You leave AVG in middle in all likelihood, and based on how Goober is moving right now, wait, is this the 2-for? Is this the 4-man slam? Potentially heading over to the right-hand side. Maybe more of a swap right now. Three of them just grouping together in the middle lanes, and instead it's gonna be Goober coming back in the mid.
And just buff secured. So buffs went 1-to-1 here. And I mean, that Kelvin lane is not really one you would love to rotate to, right? The frozen shelter can make your rotation kind of irrelevant. They just clean somebody up while you're stuck outside the frozen shelter. But here comes Goober. Wants to put some pressure on DMB. DMB is, has ultimate online, so does Abram, so this is not a free fight by any means, but it's a very high impact kill if you can get it all. DMB is in big trouble. You try to burst him down before the ultimate pops, and they're able to get it done. Doesn't have the burns online. Swap as well into Lord and M, puts him on the low ground. He's not able to get out of that one. Beautiful play from Goober. The roam is good, and this could turn into a pretty quick Guardian, although a lot of pressure on the mid lane as well. Actually, not really, man. AVG is just shrugging it off. This Yamato is going to be huge. I mean, the space he has on the map right now is pretty scary.
Look at the rotation here. Yamato says Paradox take mid, and it starts an earlier rotation for AVG off the left-hand side with Chao transformation up. Really smart rotation to keep mid covered while AVG gets to apply more pressure to left. And none of this would be possible, Jake, without both Paradox and Yamato winning mid as heavy as they did in the beginning.
Abrams taking a big risk, just maybe trying to die for this tower, but the execution is good. Rocker just chops his head right off. I mean, I think that's a worthwhile trade at this place in the game, though. Dying on the Abrams, getting the reset. You still have that Guardian up in your lane. So it does equalize in the objective sense. But Sneaky Golem, I mean, this is a moderate lead, but we're very early in the game to have a 4K soul lead. I mean, this is pre-Sinners. And so the question is, when these ultimates come back online, when Sinners spawn in just over a minute, are you really able to hold it down in melee creeps and protect objectives like your doubles, like your Sinners?
I see you, Mirage.
League piling on the other side, able to get one in the middle. Now, take a look. AVG, force shout transformation, 2 enemies about. Gets a backup here from Rocane on the pocket, and it's enough between the shadow transformation and Rocane coming in to cause the retreat on the left-hand side. 33k to 29k, and Jake, this is a tenuous period of the map where things really could start going awry for melee creeps if they can't find something to equalize.
Yeah, and I mean, he's fully set up to really snowball the farm here on AVG's Yamato. Has gone for the monster rounds. Here's Goober showing up, helping to roam into this lane. Trying to pressure this Guardian, but the counter rotation is coming in, actually, and Yamato has no Shadow Transformer. I think it's just overestimated her power. Saya, foot on the gas pedal here, chases forward, takes down one, and they're looking for more now. Mina's here, looking to get in. Knocks Nos for cooldown in just a few seconds. Infernus could be on the menu next.
There's no rotations coming in to help here either. This is a pretty good fight here for melee creeps, enough to get the Guardian, and if the defenders have any sort of misplay here, punish on that too, and it looks like misplay may have happened. Goober caught by the charge at the end. Lord NM striking deep with a little bit of help from the Mina in the back.
Yeah, finding that kill is nice. DMB's still going to be there to catch the wave and, you know, take all this farm, so they're not going to be too upset about that. Majestic Leap, though, is online for this pocket, and he's getting 3 stacks on Kelvin, so you got to be a little bit scary, but the threat of the Frozen Shelter makes Saya just too big of a problem to really take the fight, too.
You know, Jake, as I look at this here, I feel like the win condition for melee creeps, their initiation isn't going to be as good. I mean, yeah, later game, you make it Fam Strike on Abrams, and you'll go from there. You're running Kelvin. You've gotten Kelvin for the first time in a long time. I think you need to be pretty aggressive about urn control. And to the same note, I think if you're Sneaky Golem, you don't really want melee creeps to get both control of the urn and the ability to force urn with dome up. That is a bad combination. You need the contest urn pickup if you're Sneaky Golem in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, that's the power of getting Kelvin in this draft, right? It could be a great way for melee creeps to get right back into the game, getting that essentially guaranteed urn turn in with the Kelvin dome. ABG just content to jungle it up right now. Seems like everyone, there's a lot of Sinners on the map. Both teams, I think, are generally going to get their half of the map, so not enough of an advantage for Sneaky Golem to press it and really take control and explode this lead. It's not enough of a lead, really, I think, either to lead you to do much in terms of changing your game, but I think you're right, ZP, to highlight, you know, when that urn spawns, even control of mid-boss for those mid-boss boxes, as we see that fight starting to take place in lower. Shiv looking to get the chase down. Goober as well over the top. They have the slowing X, but do they have the catch? Yes, they do. Beautiful swap by Goober. Great catch onto this Billy, and the Kelvin Ultimate's keeping this in contest, but do you have what it takes to continue this fight, melee creeps? Billy's still low, Billy down.
Yeah, you end up losing the dome there on top of it. Not able to save Fish Cake. See if the rest of the fight goes out well. Kelvin at full HP in on the chase down. Throws the grenade towards the end. AVG, though, able to walk it off. And if you're Sneaky Golem, you're really loving that here, Jake, because not only did you get the pick off, not only did you survive the dome, but now you have this window of time where you might be able to run urn without having to worry about dome at all.
Yeah, definitely a nice moment.
Okay.
It's going to slow down the threat of an urn take. Like, you could do this urn, but you don't have Frozen Shelter to guarantee it. So there's an opportunity to contest. Still, Sneaky Golem have options. They could just elect to trade the opposite side Guardian. I think that'd be a very reasonable decision, though. DMB look to make that defense, and DMB's doing all right on the Souls League, though, kind of leading the game here on the Mirage. Definitely someone who, if he really wants to push, puts his foot on the gas, it's going to be a problem to defend it.
Well, if you're Saya, you could just wait for dome, or they could just rush forward. This is a little bit riskier. Forced off here at the beginning, still waiting for the dome cooldown. It's nearly there, but it's not there just yet. Goes for the shot onto Pocket. Pocket, meanwhile, over in, drops the Affliction. Sneaky Golem going for the full contest, but the dome has arrived. League takes down Fish Cake, though, before it arrives. Urn frozen out. Kelvin again shot by it in his own dome. Tornado comes out, able to dodge.
Oh, melee creeps in trouble.
Is just under pressure from all ends, out of tools, out of life. Saya gonna fall here towards the end. least you would think. Sai right now still alive. A little bit
where did
more
he go?
evasion
Legend
here.
juke.
Buying a bit of time, but finally goes down.
Dude, we got freaking wall hacks, and I can't even see where he went on hydration screen. So, you know what? All right, put some respect on the jukes from Saya, but it's still not enough. Way too many players surround. That earn drop is going to be good for Sneaky Golem. DMB, though, says, hey, you can take objective on one side of the map. Guess what I'm doing on the other? He's got a movement buff as well, so he's not going to be easy catching. He's going to stick around. He wants to finish this one off, keeping that burn going on the Walker. Rotates away, but Goober is here to catch and has that swap. Doesn't even need it, though. They get that cleanup on the DMB, but I think DMB takes those, man, all day, man. Take that Walker, cost you a player's life, but the wave is so bad, it's not even going to be that easy to clear the Guardian in response.
Well, also, you talk about, like, appropriating souls onto the heroes that need it. DMB got a massive percentage of the Walker by being the only one that was there, so you really do love that if you're in Furnace. I mean, not only the greater objective of the Walker, but also you yourself getting a greater share. I mean, it's pretty good all around. The problem for melee creeps is that the overall end of the game right now is a little bit rougher in terms of souls, and you know, as is that threat of getting worse. Kelvin, under a little bit of pressure, just gonna ice path up to the rooftops.
Couple knives in him. You gotta put some respect on Shib, man. Those knives do start to add up. Although Rocker has not really invested into Spirit just yet. I assume he will at some point in the game, but oh, beautiful swap from Goober, man. The awareness is so clean. Doesn't have that silence wall, it seems skilled just yet, but they just have John dead to rights. The swap only delays the inevitable, and that's a long cooldown ult to expend. Meanwhile, DMB's saying, hey, run it back, baby. You can push if you want. You can do whatever you want, man. I'm just gonna keep sieging your walkers down, burn them down one after the other. He's got to be a little bit scared of pocket, though. That affliction could be a death sentence, and I don't know that you really want to die again. I mean, there's a threat of a mid-boss take, so I think it's wise for him to back off here. It still pulls a nice rotate.
DMB right now has the body of an Furnace player, but the soul of a McGinnis player, the way he's had to play this game here so far. But Lord NM caught out, taken down. Sai, meanwhile, dropping another frozen shelter for a bit of safety off in the mid lane. So one pick on the Lord NM, but another Walker for in danger here for Sneaky Golem, as DMB may be looking to go back in sooner rather than later.
Nice burn into Calico. Takes more than half her HP off. Not insignificant for a hero that kind of relies on sustaining some of these fights. And DMB continues to escalate the farm. Capacitor on the cards. I assume that'll be his next buy. Guess he has options here. And almost has that max gas as well. And that could be scary, man. The max Infernus gas plus Capacitor is probably just about the highest DPS you can get at the game in that net worth.
Also, in terms of team fighting, if you're able to just get a walk at them team fight, not set up by an early pick with Goober, and not your entire team getting hit by frogs, between this pretty well farmed Infernus and Saya on the Kelvin, the team fighting for melee creeps is genuinely scary here, Jake.
Shiv pinged out, opportunity now to catch more. He's able to outplay this one. Looks like he's dashed up to the high ground. He's maybe played out of this one, but I don't think you can handle the damage that TMB has. Okay. Maybe the mobility is enough, but you can see, I mean, that Shiv is going to cook for like a third of his health off just one burn.
I see paradise.
DMB, though, out of this one, man. The threat of the rotate, way too real. Both teams bringing in numbers, and waves are actually pretty strong for melee creeps, so this is a moment where they're likely to want to get into an engagement.
Oh, they're going to go in there right now. Shout transformation forced out immediate, I think, off the parry. Lord NM already gets one pick. Frozen shelter getting me dropped. And
quick full heal.
Go out. That doesn't quite get the catch.
It doesn't catch Yamato, but they might still have her, and they have everyone back up to full HP. So this Yamato kill could portend a mid boss. I think there's something to be said for the DMB's raw damage. Only a parry would save him, but he just can't find it. And okay, maybe it's just another earn run. I mean, maybe creeps. Hey, this is textbook Kelvin gameplay, man. Like, come team fight us with the Kelvin Dome and come try and defend your objectives. We're just gonna run earns. Getting those Walker sieges is really nice. And now DMB is threatening it again on the right side lane. What are you going to do? Are you going to just give up the earn, or are you going to give up the Walker? He's putting them to the test.
I feel like you need to push an objective if you're Sneaky Golem here, because I don't think you want to fight the earn at earn turn. And they're going to go for it. They know they're split, but earn.
They're trying to defend the objective, man. Oh, Affliction. Big on 3. That could be enough for a team fight here. Frozen Shelter not online. So despite... looks pretty scary for the melee creeps. DMB's down elsewhere on the map, and oh, you cannot afford to get team wiped with mid-boss sub ZP.
this would be brutal timing. And, from Rokane's point of view, those 3 people are low. And even 3 people being low right here, the only thing stopping Sneaky Golem, I think, from slamming mid, even just off 1 pick and the Affliction, Jake, is just the status of the lanes. Mid lane, not in as good of a spot. Left lane also pushed in pretty severely. So the lane control has been kind of rough for Sneaky Golem and taking advantage of some of the opportunities that they've had here. But 95k to 92k, and Infernus at 18. This is a tough equation right now for Sneaky Golem.
Yeah, their lead feels like it hasn't grown whatsoever in quite a long time. Melee Creeps have equalized things pretty well with some of these split objective pressures. The value domes from Saya have been very on point here on this Kelvin. And you're starting to get a little scared about fighting for Sneaky Golem, and that's not where you want to be when you're hoping to make this a decisive game too.
John going for a little bit of creep clearance down in the underground. And yeah, as we look at things now, 100k to 98k. If you're in melee creeps, I truly think here, Jake, you kind of avoid going too ridiculous here and try and focus more on team fights. Like, you can just chill, take your jungle, and if you can avoid the gank attempts coming in from Sneaky Golem, you just fight next turn.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just run urns, wait and run urns. Now a pin catches in on the ship, some big damage on him, the slowing Hex as well. Working some risky melees in on him on top of that, and the slow comes in from Kelvin. They're trying to hunt this ship down. The bloodletting is going to be pretty severe in terms of the damage coming in on him, and now Goober was looking to get a trade off, but may have bitten off more than he can chew. A nice wall bounce out is good, but he's chained by the Billy. Still, DMB is already down, so this might be a fight that Sneaky Golem actually want to double down into, and the moves are good right now from Goober. Not good enough, though. Scout does find that finishing kill.
Comes at a bit of a trade as John and DMB. Well, John is down, DMB was already down, so 1 for 1. But you look for Sneaky Golem, they're looking to get their first walker of the game. Flex slot would be certainly welcome at this point. It doesn't look like too many are getting rotated over to the right, and even if they were starting to rotate, this walker is getting burned down fast, but they may be able to get the cleanup. Even if the walker goes down, melee creeps, they want to be able to fight. They have the dome ready to go. Are they going to be able to get a catch? Right now, they're looking for League, who's going for Traveler, ends up getting bashed, but does get out just in the nick of time.
So low on League, man. He's like 1 HP. Very clutch. I mean, he doesn't have that much tankiness, right? He's kind of a glass cannon and all, but the item itself on this Mirage, but he's also pretty far ahead of the game. 24k souls. That would have been a monster kill to find for melee creep. So League is going to be counting his blessings that he got out of that one.
It was on knife's edge. If that was Traveler was even a half second later, he probably goes down with Fishcake right on his heels. But we get Fishcake now the one being hunted off on the right hand side. Plenty of damage coming in, and the fall through is there from Rocker. Now 1 pick off. Sneaky Golem still looking pretty healthy, on the hunt for more. They would love to take this fight in middle, and that's exactly what they're doing here and now. Saya super low, may have to pop the dome just to stay alive. Has to do the dome in danger just barely enough, but gets bursted through the dome. DMB going wild. The ground is fired, so is DMB. Walks on forward, hits everyone, gets the shots right on after. Huge plays from DMB, and this could turn real bad for the melee creeps.
Oh, Yamato wants a bite of this one and has the ultimate as well. Not scared to continue this chase down. Threat now to go towards the mid boss. DMB is down. That's not just your carry, that's also arguably your best tool for contesting mid boss in this game with that Infernus ultimate. Sneaky Golem making a beeline for it. But see melee creeps forcing them to continue to deal with this fight, and big dash in from Lord NM hits on everybody, getting that massive heal there from the Cursed Book. Now goes over the top here to slam down. I don't know if he's gonna have any targets left on this, but that fight looked terrible for the melee creeps and they pulled it back.
Yeah, and a big part of that is that even under pressure, DMB was able to do enough to just keep melee creeps slightly above water, what was looking to be a pretty one-sided fight at the beginning. They still lose Scout towards the very end. Sneaky Golem's still pretty happy with where they've gone, but man, oh man, this 125k to 113k, it's right on the precipice right now, Jake. And don't forget, Sneaky Golem taking map number 1. They would be defending their throne should they win this map.
Yeah, they're looking to do just that. I mean, they're up 1-0. It feels like they've had definitely the edge in this series, but yeah, favorite earn turn in kind of puts this almost back towards even here for melee creeps, especially if DMB spends the whole time just farming up here on this left side lane uncontested. That would be amazing for this Infernus's game. John, meanwhile, has quietly assumed just the same soul count as DMB right now. So there's a double threat really in this core matchup. And League is going to be public enemy number 1. It's an attempt at the mid boss. DMB's already here to threaten the contest, though.
And he has combustion. Sneaky Golem, though, don't quite care. They don't pull off the mid boss. The rejuve is coming on down. Concussive combustion in from DMB. Gonna hop on over the frozen shelter towards the very end after 2 crystals. Hit by Sneaky Golem. Slows it down a little bit from the fall through from Melee Creeps. Final crystal going away to Sneaky Golem. And Melee Creeps lose both Saya, DMB, and Lord NM, one after the other. 2 rejuve crystals are taken in turn, but a much better trade so far for Sneaky Golem.
Yeah, and the catch on the Mina is good as well. They do take out that 3rd crystal, so at least you won't have those rejuves to continue to push into the base, but everyone's wiped off the map for Melee Creeps. Complete free reign for Sneaky Golem to continue to progress this game. They might go for the urn. They might look for walkers. I mean, kind of the cursed apple is their oyster.
Alrighty. So Melee Creeps, the champion of the NA Trolli tournament, we're looking to take the throne of Night Shift here tonight, Jake, but it may be out of reach. Sneaky Golem's adaptations.
Oof.
Looking
Scary.
pretty good here so far, and Melee Creeps just struggling to find a way back once more. But, you know, one difference between last game and this game here, Jake, they got a Kelvin.
True. Makes the potential for some of these comeback team fights very real, but Saya, I think, showing maybe little inexperience on the Kelvin there. That late dome, allowing 2 of the crystals to go, it felt like, you know, already Melee Creeps kind of had to accept that they weren't really going to win that team fight once they were unable to contest those first 2 crystals. And they stopped some of the damage by cleaning up the crystals, but soul lead wise, it really ballooned from that engagement.
So 155 to 122, and Melee Creeps now. This is where also part of their comp, it's kind of, you know, on the upside, okay, you got a Kelvin. On the downside, they don't have great pick potential. A lot of their pick potential comes from Fishcake and Lord NM just kind of being frontline and making plays off that. But when you're really behind in souls, it's not as effective, Jake.
On top of the garage.
This is looking to be a team fight. League TP's in. Mina's out of this one, so Melee Creeps are at a 6v5 disadvantage and a massive soul deficit, but they've already gauged Rocane. Pocket is down. See if he's done enough with the affliction to continue this fight. DMB, the heavy melee, the risk taken from hydration. This time it pays off. Shiv finds one, execute, reset, looking for more, chasing down. No mid boss, but it's just Lord NM, just cut down at range. Goober gets that finishing blow. And yes,
also on top
Scout
of it,
did push the lane, but I mean, that's pretty devastating now.
you only get Rocane from your pickoff opportunity, and you get bursted so hard that Saya can't drop dome. I mean, Saya may have gotten hit with a silence wave or, you know, some form of disable in the middle of it, but either way, not the sort of fight you want. Still down 30k. And now, in terms of taxes that you're going to pay, well, Melee Creeps had 1 walker left, Jake, and that's certainly going to go to the wayside.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to take the walker. They're taking the base guardians at the same time. E-shift online for Scout, though. That's a pretty big pickup on the Mina. I think it does kind of open your game up to really push the risk profile to kind of go even further beyond. There's a lot of jungle on the map to clear, though, and Mina not in any trouble here with the E-shift. She's just being patient, playing her way out of this one. But there's a lot of jungle to clear, and if Sneaky Golem is able to farm up all of that, this is going to get to stat check territory, ZP. And I mean, League's already 35k souls. He hasn't died in quite a long while. I mean, the last time it came even close was that risky Traveler out he pulled, but he lived through that one, and he might just live through the end of this game, ZP. I mean, Ricochet Siphon Bullets is this is so gross, man. He's going to be so tanky in these fights, and he does insane damage. I imagine Crippling is likely up next, and that's a gun you don't want to be on the other side of, man. This Mirage sometimes can be slow to farm, but in this game, he is topping the charts.
The other problem, too, is that how do you easily isolate the Mirage here with the comp that you're running? Effectively, you would need Lord NM to, you know, land a Phantom Strike charge or, you know, maybe a Billy initiation, but either way, they don't really have your most common tools for dealing with Mirage. League is just going to be able to kind of sit in the back with impunity. Maybe you run into a little bit of trouble, you tornado out. It's difficult to actually lock him down with the comp that Melee Creeps are using, and even trying to go for Urn Turn in with Kelvin this far down, that is far from an easy endeavor.
Looks like they're actually catching Sneaky Golem, diving in, sensing an opportunity to end this game. DMP's already down. one of your key fighting heroes. Now Mina getting in, uses that Sanguine Retreat, has to back out of this engagement. The base guard is going to protect you for now with the help of that backdoor protection, but losing the Infernus, I mean, that is painful, right? This is one of your key sources of defensive damage, one of your key threats to actually turn around a fight. And for now, Sneaky Golem just going to get a free set of base guardians. Looking over as well to the Mina, who's in the site scout, should be able to play his way out of this one, but the map is so dark and scary right now for melee creeps, man. You come out, you die, you come out, you die. It's just Sneaky Golem, full control.
That urn may as well not exist right now, Jake. I'm looking at here, it just feels like something that's not going to get turned in by melee creeps under any circumstances. How Sneaky Golem is playing, they are waiting for the attempt to just end the game. And all right, melee creeps, they're looking for it. Are they going to be able to manage to turn it in? They go for the dome here on top. Okay, they use the dome. Is there going to be a punish on top? That's the question. You use your big team fight tool to get the urn. What do you pay in turn? And are they going to be able to get out right now? It's actually looking like a reasonable escape here, but melee creeps, does it work out in their favor? Jake, they got one over, but here's the only problem. They don't have dome now for a while into next fight, and the Sneaky Golem just force it with no dome.
I mean, going just off the dome is pretty painful, so I think melee creeps actually just get out of that one. The problem is, yes, you get the urn, right? That's a pretty reasonable amount of souls. I think it's what, the third or fourth urn in this game. It's meaningful, but look at the split on the map from Sneaky Golem. In the end, melee creeps, the only way you win this game is by getting out of the map and contesting this farm. If you let Sneaky Golem just split and farm the entire map, like the lead is going to balloon. I don't care about your comeback mechanics, right? If you're not doing a single jungle camp, you are in serious trouble. DMB shows himself on one side wave. See what the response is for Sneaky Golem. For now, they're just playing it patient, not forcing anything. Rocker scouting things out, but just happy to clear the jungle, clear the waves. Mid boss of 20, so maybe no one wants to take that risk. And reaching that point where, I mean, you could like instantly do the mid boss for Sneaky Golem, and they do have Yamato. So there's an argument to be made for them just full sending the mid boss if it's up. Or you can make it roar and kind of bait the fight out. So it's a very challenging point to play strategically for melee creeps. That being said, hey,
ladder.
I think 30k sold out
Kelvin and some of the chaos that can happen even as far ahead as you are.
Yeah, true.
Making the mid boss roar and then going for the fight after, where Kelvin can't do rejuvenator shenanigans, is good. But okay, the fight may just taking place now. DMB already low. In and of the fight, able to back out a little bit. Billy with the chain gang into the frozen shelter. Is this the fight you need? Lord and M Fishcake still go down frozen shelter. No, Sneaky Golem, the stats are just too damn high. And the fall through coming in shortly. John, Scout, DMB, the only survivors, but not for long. The Carbine takes down Scout. And now straight down the middle go the rest of Sneaky Golem. The throne, Jake, about to be defended perhaps, as we see John just one of the lone people left in the sewer by mid boss.
A Geist kill would be really big right now. I mean, he is half with swap, but this is 1v6. It's just not going to be enough, even a swap. So John thinking about a steal, but just feel like it's not happening this game, man. A Geist with no stuns, like you're at this level of play, it's not happening. And they're pushing the base while taking mid, which is quite risky. I think melee creeps have a good chance to get some kills on the defense here. Like Shiv is low. If you come into this, DMB has leash. I don't think you're going to be able to get out of this one on Shiv, and should be able to get the crystal in time. League's TPing in. This is going to get crazy now. Melee creeps, see if they want to chase this one out. Explosion dodge, it seems. Shiv should be dying to the bloodlet here. Maybe. Yes, eventually is going to tick out, but League is just walking forward. The Terminator right now.
So much HP and damage.
I mean, hey, they get out of that with one crystal. Still, I think, you know, it's going to be, now there's a target, right? If you're able to burst down the Shiv, he doesn't have access to that reju. Just a little bit scary. Sneak, I'm going to go back, clear the waves, get the buffs, and then I think go for the death blow here. Maybe after an urn as well.
I mean, there's a world where Sneaky Golem could have already finished this out, but I think they are being methodical, which is honestly the right way to go about this here. I think sometimes people go, like, just finish the game. It's like, well, you could finish the game with an 80% chance of it going well, but if you play smart and go out of your way to choke out the game, you're upping your odds to like 95%, right? Which is why a team is ahead of Sneaky Golem in this case will still slow play it a bit.
Yeah, I think it's a great call out. But looking for a comeback here is melee creeps. They're going to go out and make a decisive move on the map. Shiv revealing his position by holding this urn, and here he comes. Phantom Strike in on the Abrams. Lord and M instantly attacking into this guy. Billy grabs the chain. Do they have the damage, though? This is a Shiv, remember. Extremely tanky, though. He does not have the E-Shiv. Big Affliction looks like it came in over the top. Is the Kelvin done enough? It doesn't seem like it. Melee Creep's HP still dropping. Rocker survived that initiation and lived to fight another day. DMB now in the sights and instantly bursted down Yamato through the map. Surely she'll be back on the map soon. The Shadow Form being stalled out, typing. And now Earn picked up, but I don't think it even matters, man. Melee Creeps on their last legs in this game. Hydration running at warp speed, Mach 3, straight down the gut into this base.
Well, Melee Creeps came in here hoping for a promotion here in North American Night Shift, and you may be king of the gummies, but in this case, Sneaky Golem, they did their homework, they did their adaptation. Second stage Patron coming in, and this time around, Jake, with 2 Rejuve crystals left in the game, we got a manner pause as AVG is defending Lord NM's honors, saying, chat, you are horrible.
Damn, chat, you just gonna take that from AVG? AVG
Okay.
just, guys, everyone in Twitch chat is E6. Type yes if you're E6 in Twitch chat. We all know everyone in chat's E6. No question. All 2,000 of you.
Well,
E as an I, because I'm I6. Man, Sneaky Golem, they defend their title here in the Night Shift. They couldn't win when it came to the Trolli Open, but you know what? They came back in flying colors, and you can definitely tell, gentlemen, that they for sure had a game plan this time around with the focus bands over on John, with forcing Lord and M off of Mo and Krill and onto the floor man. I mean Doorman, and then eventually the Abrams.
come on.
But Sneaky Golem, like, you have to give them some respect, because I think it was very easy for them to tilt after the Trolli Open, and they came back looking like a completely different team.
Definitely. I mean, this was resurgent. They really, I think, came very prepared for Melee Creeps as an opponent and reasserted themselves as top dogs in NA. They're going to be, I think, hankering for their next shot at a big tourney to take them on in the grand finals. For now, though, they remain our champions here in North America. And it's a well-deserved win, right? You can't say they didn't earn this one. Goober in game 1 on the Bebop, man, that was a monster game. Just absolutely took it over. And then game 2, it was just almost across the board from Sneaky Golem, right? So many players having big contributions, taking the team fights into Kelvin. I mean, Melee Creeps made it difficult at times, but I mean, Sneaky Golem just played with so much confidence and poise in this series.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the game plan change up from the beginning, and also it needs to be said, in terms of prioritization in the draft, giving up Kelvin is absurdly risky. It is definitely a maneuver that has backfired many a time, especially in recent memory, but they decided getting rid of the Bebop is more important, and that calculation ended up being true for Sneaky Golem, but that takes a lot to actually make that call in draft.
I think we have every single Eternus 6 player in NA, in EU, and in Asia and Oceania, because we had so many yeses being hit in chat to your comment, Jake, about saying yes in chat if you are Eternus 6. But I want to kind of ask you a hard-hitting question here, ZP. Is, do you think, oh, this is gonna sound weird, do you think Sneaky Golem legitimately beat Melee Creep in a sense of, do you think they just beat them like mechanically in how the game's played, or was this game kind of won in the draft?
I mean, it's both. I think it's all kind of one and the same, where you can be like, oh, is this like the honest win, or do you just take out our strengths? The reality is, in Deadlock, you have to be a well-rounded team. If you only have one method of which you can win and be the superior team, and other people figure that out, you're not going to be a top team for very long. I mean, it's just how the game goes. You have to have depth as a team. You have to be able to cover your holes. And if Sneaky Golem is able to go in there and see, hey, you're actually weak if we do this particular play, and Sneaky Golem doesn't have the same weaknesses, Sneaky Golem is the better team.
Get out of my head, Jake.
Jason, stop it.
It's like 5 a.m. here, man.
You need some help.
I need some help for sure.
I both need help. I'm caught on and just please.
That's confirmed. That is confirmed. I think, though, with the addition of Ranger and Rocker into the team, Sneaky Golem played the draft phase extremely well. And I think, again, it showed holes in the Melee Creeps camp of like what they need to protect and what they need to think about of adapting their style later on. And I wonder if this is maybe something that Sneaky Golem kind of knew, well, Hydra Nation kind of knew in the past when it came to specific players, that they knew they had these weaknesses. Like John, I mean, he hasn't shown us much past Bebop and past Geist. His Warden just didn't really do much, whether that was because he didn't have the opportunity to do so, or it just doesn't play out well in this kind of gameplay. But they definitely have like two things that need to be fixed around, and some rosters being flushed out between the squad.
Look, I'll defend John the Warden note just by saying is that he was and probably still is one of the best Wardens in the game. I just think, as I called back in the draft phase, I think trying to make Warden work right now is really difficult. It is a really good hero in his pool, but Warden didn't even bring a swimsuit. I mean, that's just kind of where it's at. I think Warden needs buffs before John can kind of come in here and say like, yeah, I want to play the Warden again.
Yeah, and it didn't work out, but I do wonder, Jake, like I'm assuming since you're also E6, you've met up against him over in ranked. Do you think he has any additional depth beyond these 3 heroes?
Look, I mean, honestly, I think all these top players, it's like, we have some fun, and like, I don't think there's really hard feelings about like, you know, having some fun typing smack talk in chat, but realistically, like Lord of Them is one of the best players in Deadlock right now, right? Like anybody who's, you know, top 100 in the leaderboard is insanely good at the game right now. And we have our fun, and it's like part of the show, you know, to like kind of talk smack, but I'm sure a lot of them are working on other heroes. And remember, Deadlock is so new. I mean, this kind of takes me back to like Overwatch back in the day, where like people had these like, you know, when we were playing competitively, playing pro back in the day, people had like their 2 or 3, 4 best heroes they're really good at, and then they didn't play much outside of that. Where now in the modern game, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years later in Overwatch, the best players kind of play everything. It's like pretty universal. And I think Deadlock will likely see that too, where we'll see more and more players expanding their hero pools over time, over different patches, different opportunities. And at the same time, the hero roster will expand around them as well. So yeah. Look, I just think it's so early in the game. I think it's understandable. In the end, like this game isn't like full-time professional for anybody yet. So I just appreciate the players showing us what they got and putting up quite the show for us. I mean, I just love to see the big plays. And yes, maybe the hero pool is an issue, but hey, that's where the draft comes in. If you can't draft around it, right? Sneaky Golem took the L in that $5,000 prize pool match there. And that one, this win is nice, but I don't think it's going to take away that sting until they win a few more night shifts back to back.
Yeah, and I mean, they at least got 5K for themselves, right? So Meta Creeps can be happy about that, but it is the 1K for Sneaky Golem that's going to be important for today. Let's quickly take a look here at maybe our hero priority from the event today. And see if there's been any big changes from what we've had in the prior weeks. We had Yamato going up there towards 6. We had Infernus highly prioritized. Poor Victor, man, and Kelvin, they just want to play the game here at this point.
The ridiculous thing to me when I look at this is that I think back to other elements of the meta in Deadlock, and I think you have to go really far back to find elements where one hero was permabanned for as long as Kelvin has been, let alone having basically 2 permaban heroes at the same time. And I would say, oh, Kelvin got picked once. Well, that was clearly special Bebop influenced circumstances. The other interesting thing to me is that you had Mo significantly on the rise here, you know, basically because Mo was getting paired with Bebop a whole lot. Holiday is back and then some. And I feel like this was always going to be the case because Holiday's kit is just overwhelmingly strong. And people did the pro player thing where you overreact to a nerf and then you just kind of look back and it's like, actually, hero kind of good. And you know, Jake, you're a veteran of a lot of Dota related patch changes, and it's very you know, you can tell the game has some Dota DNA in it because the same thing happened in Dota over and over again where people would overreact to nerfs and be like, no, actually hero's still good.
I mean, there's like 100 items, man. Like this game is so complicated. There's no question in my mind that there are still to this day right now undiscovered builds on heroes that people aren't really playing that actually make them work, that could make them effective, that could fit into the right team style, but maybe that isn't even developed yet. So this is just a beautiful moment in Deadlock where we get to see the experimentation, the learning, the development patch after patch. I mean, Infernus, after some nerfs, was untouched for like 2 weeks. And it wasn't an actual patch change that brought him back in. It was people figuring out, okay, this is the build, this is the style that you want to make him good. And now he's like tier 1 going first phase almost every game, even in both NA and EU. A couple of interesting questions for me, though, is that we're not seeing much Doorman at all in NA. I mean, if it goes, it's like 6th pick, it's a flex pick, whereas it seems like a super high prio in EU. And then Grey Talon untouched this week. Crazy. That one kind of blew me away. I'm not super surprised by anything else in terms of high or low priority, but GT has felt pretty powerful when we've seen them come in. So I'm surprised to see that down to 0.
I kind of wish actually within that graphic we had like an EU portion and an NA portion to really hammer home the discrepancies between the 2 regions and what's prioritized as picks, because bans obviously expanding across the entire regions as a whole. Pretty much taking a Victor and Kelvin. Let's take a quick look at our match stats from this last game as well before we do round up the show and of course have our interview. You can see here League I do wonder. I mean, you can obviously tell from every match they play, they purposely feed him so many souls. And obviously, when he had the ricochet online towards the end with the siphon bolts, as you pointed out, Jake, of course, with the crippling headshots, he was just a beast ready to feast.
Yeah, I mean, this is a textbook pause one game where you get all the farm, and to be deathless, like that death stat is honestly the most important stat when it comes to position one, right? Like the fact that you're getting farmed, almost a foregone conclusion at this level, and as you said, the team putting that priority on you. But his kill participation is insanely high, and he's deathless. And that just is such a problem for the opponent. It means he's getting further and further and further ahead. At many points in this game, like if you're able to find those kills on League, that's a big bag of souls going back the way of melee creeps, starting to equalize things. But League prevented that constantly. And the discipline to have that in a winning game is a huge asset for Sneaky Golem, and I think one that is going to continue to pay dividends. So I'm excited to see more from League. This guy is great to watch. Really clinical Mirage play in this game.
Any thoughts, ZP?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with most of what got brought up there. I also think, for me, it was kind of nice seeing Hydration off Mo duty for a time. Hydration, I feel like, has been stuck in Mo jail for a long period of time for a lot of recent Sneaky Golem drafts. Seeing Hydration getting the, stretch their legs a little bit, get on Calco, get a little bit more active than recent times is pretty good. And, for someone that's usually been stuck filling holes on the team, going, okay, I guess I'll play the Mo. I guess I'll, even do something, along the lines of like a Page. Hydration actually getting to play a more impact hero, I mean, was nice.
All right, let's move on to our MVP of this series. And I think we all agree, all of us here on the show, not to mention all of you at home, the real MVP going to be coming through as Goober here on his Paradox. And I think we did see him play it once within the Trolli Open, but it's definitely been a hero that we've seen him and Rocker both be able to play to an extremely high level here, Jake.
I mean, I feel like game one on the Bebop was the real, like, super dominant, undeniable MVP performance where he just ran through them this game, man. Absolutely smoked the game, out of control from a very early point and super active. And then game two on the Paradox was a hero that we haven't necessarily seen him play all that much, but he still looked fantastic, dominated his lane, went on to be insanely active and snowball the game. I mean, this guy is really, I think, kind of the only one playing this super active style with this wide hero pool. Like, if we're going to criticize some players for their hero pools, we got to also praise the ones who are kind of doing it no matter what in the ban phase. I think there was a time where, his name's Goober, right? So people were thinking, oh, this guy's, see a Viscous one trick, he's picking it every game. And I mean, this is, the Paradox game is, I think, definitely a testament to the fact that that's not the case at all. And he's here to play here at the highest level.
Yeah, I mean, Goober, even in the very beginning, back when I think he was playing for TF2 Boomers, was his original debut and more prolific competitive Deadlock. And even back then, it was kind of like, ooh, Goober, the Viscous one trick. And then Goober actually would come in and play something like Haze and be the most effective player on the entire team on the Haze. So I feel like Goober, while at times has gotten hit with the one trick allegations, I don't even think going back to the beginning they've been true. I think Goober is just inherently an incredibly mechanically skilled player. And I'm surprised it actually took this long for him to finally get picked up by one of the top two teams. I think it was a long time coming and easily one of the best parts of Sneaky Golem now.
He's truly a man of the people. The first DLNS that he won back with Sneaky Golem, he took his earnings to go to A's, be like, hey, can you make me a Viscous Bebop skin? Goobop.
The skin is crazy, actually.
And then he released it to all of his viewers over on his stream as well, so they can play with the Goobop. And then to be a further man of the people, he said, Jason Kappa, let's go stream together and go play rank together. So that's how I'm going to do my training arc to catch up to you, Jake, to take you on the next game night when that happens, when I'm
good luck,
back from
Goober.
Amsterdam.
I hope you've been lifting, bro. I hope your back is strong.
If you think about it, I'm actually helping him. Like,
that's
you have
true.
to carry dead weights in your game so you can become even better.
Naruto where the guy has the ankle weights and like he's super cool and a tough fighter?
Whoa, shut up. Did you just say Naruto with the ankle weights? You're talking about Dragon Ball Z, bro. How dare he, ZP? Get his ass.
Well, they also do it in Naruto,
Wait.
They also,
in terms of weight training, Rock Lee was also one of the big ones in Naruto.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Inspiration from DBZ.
So I'm saying,
DBZ's not the only anime that do weight training, man. Educate yourself.
I'm saying Goober's Rock Lee and Justin is the ankle weights. That's a power combo, That's in a sense.
Justin?
When I
Okay,
I thought you were gone.
That was your mess up. I can come back in if you're gonna say Justin.
That was my
evil
beat.
Justin's here. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, it's gonna be him taking off the ankle weights, coming into the first land, and he's gonna stomp 1v6 in every single match. But before we do close out the show here, we're having a little bit of fun. We got to bring in even more fun my king, and of course, one of the players from Sneaky Gold. We got AVG join us once again here on the show. It seems like you always get sent to do the interviews, man. When are you going to get out of it and make other teammates do this?
They just don't want to do it, and I like doing it, so here we are.
Is it because you like talking to me? Is that it?
I mean, I'm honestly, I'm glad you're here, because usually you're actually not here, but, you know, I'm happy that you're here this time.
Okay, well, let's get into the questions here. And honestly, I think the easiest and I think the most interesting one is, how has the team handled the loss over in the Trolli Open? And what have you guys been working on the last couple of days? Because you guys looked like night and day here today.
Yeah, so losing Trolli, obviously, that was not in the books. But the reality is we didn't play up to the standard that we would like to play. And the thing is, this team is meant for the long haul, and we want to get better and better. And had we lost today, that wouldn't have caused, you know, obviously at the end of the day, whenever you lose, you're going to be really upset. And when we lost Trolli, I was like crying myself to sleep. But the reality is, like, we want to get better, and we have our sights set on like continuing to compete when the game is bigger and bigger. And we're just really happy that we get to compete at the end of the day. I'm just glad that there's a team like Melee Creeps in the game that can consistently challenge us and give us things to think about, and have like make me have to VOD review 2 hours in the morning and like write out a fucking like an essay or whatever, right? Like, it's just, you know, it's fun. It's great to have such good competition. And when we play bad like that, it only makes you want to play better the next time, even if it sucks in the moment, you know?
On that note,
What do you got?
one of the big things seemed to be the draft. Who was it that came in and was basically the draft? Was it a team thing, or was it one individual that said, look, I've looked at the, you know, footage, we need to do this in the draft? Because to me, that was the biggest difference from tonight to Trolli on the weekend, is that you guys had a very different approach to the draft, especially in taking away what Melee Creeps was good at.
Yeah, I mean, it's a multi-day process, because we've been talking about, like, you know, why we lost when we lost Trolli, and we've been discussing it back and forth. But on the day of the tournaments or whatnot, usually the person drafting, or rather the person always drafting, is Rocker, so he's the one clicking the buttons and stuff. And then he will prompt the team, and we kind of all will give opinions. And then it's kind of like Ranger is like the phone in a friend coach, basically, because he's the coach. Like, he just comes in and he gives a little opinion or two. And then final say is usually me or Rocker. So Rocker will ask me, like, what do you think? And then I'll respond. And then if he thinks it's correct as well, then we go forward with it. But it is really a team thing, in my opinion.
I like the structure and the point about, you know, the collective, sometimes different people, different perspective, I guess, on especially regarding their characters or characters they know really well, how they fit into the draft. I'm curious, though, today, you guys, I feel like you guys played really like a fast tempo style, like you were playing to really push the advantages to kind of corral the opponent in base. But also at times when you were in the lead, you were actually kind of playing more on like your half of the map and kind of slowing the game down, and maybe like waiting for a mid boss to spawn or something like that. But I guess talk me through like the team comms, how you decide how to position on the map like that, to think, do we want to be forward? Do we want to be back?
I'm glad you asked this question, because earlier we were having a conversation and Ranger was like, we need to play around our identity as a team. And he's like, Melee Creeps is like playing around their identity, and we're not playing around our identity. And then we're just like, what even is our identity? Like, we don't have an identity. We're just like trying to do what we think is best. And we decided to kind of like, what we did today is like our decision on what we want to call our identity, basically, which is like, we want to play fast tempo. And taking you into the comms, the early game is run mostly by Rocker, like 90% by Rocker, and then everybody else is kind of just chiming in. Sometimes, you know, it gets a little hectic and people don't listen, but it's mostly him calling the early game, and he's the one calling like the aggro style where we want to press the advantage. And then when it comes to the mid game where we have a lead, 20-30k lead, I'm always the one calling like the big like play back, you know, like do this, like play around this side, play around this objective. I think I'm one of the best players in the game at like taking you from a winning position to winning the game. And yeah, so when that time comes, I like basically like just increase my volume in the comms by a lot, and I just kind of tell everybody what we want to do direction wise, and I think that works really well. Of course, around the entire game, like Goober is making comms with like, oh, let's look here, can I look here? It's really like Goober, Rocane, League, Hydration will always ask a question like, can I do this? And then Rocker will say yes or no in the early to mid game, and then in the late game I'll say yes or no, basically. And then like at that point when we're just like fighting, it's like everyone's just calling, you know.
So you said you're making the calls when you're like 20, 30K in the lead. So I guess
Yes.
you're awfully quiet on Sunday, yeah?
Yes, that's correct.
Sorry. I just had to get
No. It's true. It's true. Usually when we're in a bad position, I don't really have anything to say because I like to let my pick players make calls from those positions. What I'm really good at calling is like from the winning position, because from that position, it's more team oriented and doesn't require like it doesn't require like individual hero plays to get back into the game, like a random swap or something. With a random swap or something, it's just up to the guy doing the swapping, you know, like it's like Goober or
You're killing me, man. I wasn't expecting like a legitimate answer. I was just trying to have a little laugh at your expense. My real question though was going to be more about, I think you talked about your identity as a team, right?
Yeah.
I think we've seen the team bring you back to an older identity of when you were in melee creeps and we saw them have success, because you're playing more of these like brawler heroes where they on purpose feed you farm. Thinking back to your motto we had when you were playing the Trolli Open, and then your motto today, it seems like, you know, if you could take tower early on, they leave you in lane to get farm. Is this a change in style that they're having you play as well, or is this just a simple adaptation?
So if we're so basically pre-game every time we talk about who's basically gonna get like the farm split. League is like prio 1, so he's always just gonna have the most farm. It's like DMB on the enemy team, or on the melee creeps. Sorry. When I was on melee creeps, I was kind of like the carry, with like Poshy Pop and John being like the backup carries. Like John is like the crash carry, who like just randomly comes to a team fight and like kills everybody with Warden, and then Poshy Pop is like the reliable fail-safe carry. And I'm kind of playing a similar position right now, but the difference is that at the moment I'm basically like, in those 2 games that we just played, I'm basically just a lane merchant. I'm winning my lane, and then I'm just like leveraging the position to make space for my teammates, which is what I think this team needs me to do. Now, listen, if you're asking me personally, I love playing high econ, and I would very gladly, you know, play like a Warden and like have 50k gold and like roll up into a team fight and crush everybody. But that's just not what this team needs right now. And Yamato and like Shiv and these characters, they're like frontline bait yourself for your teammates carries, and I'm happy to play those for my teammates right now, because I think that League, Rocane, especially like as carries, are extremely talented, and being put in the correct position, they are able like always able to deliver. So yeah.
So that kind of leads me to a quicker question, perhaps, but one where, you know, I've done my research on it and, you know, asking about hero strength, and, you know, particularly, you know, talking friends in EU is like, hey, what do you guys think about Warden? And the general response is like, Warden is not good right now. And I mean, a lot of people saying that in NA, but obviously you yourself have done a ton of Warden, and we saw like an attempt at making Warden viable by John tonight, where instead of going Spirit build, where the ult got nerfed a lot, you know, he tried to basically make the gun build work. As one of the foremost enjoyers of Warden in NA, I guess 2 things here. One, is Warden still viable with the other power picks in the meta at the moment? And 2, did you guys see it as a win when you got John on the Warden in the draft?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, you guys are asking really good questions, so I'm really happy to answer this. Listen, Warden is my favorite hero, so I'm inclined to say that of course he's viable, but the reality is he needs about like a 10 to 15%, just like some kind of a 10 to 15% overall buff for him to be picked again. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I personally love Warden, so like when we need that pocket pick in the bottom, like I'm so down to play Warden, and I will gladly play Warden. And like I personally think the way that I play him is like so just like I hate to ego, but it's just so flawless that even though he sucks, I can make him work. But with that being said, when we got John on Warden, yes, we were definitely smiling ear to ear, or grinning, whatever the expression is, because he's gonna play Gun Warden, and that is some not that good, you know.
I feel like you wanted to say something else there.
I did want to say something else, but I'm gonna keep it, you know.
Family show.
It's just not that good. Yeah, that Gun Warden stuff, in my opinion, it's not that good.
I was saying the same thing on the show. I was saying, hey, go, just you got to just hit the ult build, man. I know it.
Yeah.
You know, without the ultimate, you're a potato, but you just have to do it. You got to make that all work. Make it sing. I got nothing more to say, man. Just congrats on the win. This is a big win for you guys to come back really strong after that Trolli tournament and you know, reclaim that title here in Night Shift. And we're just really happy to have you guys week to week. So thanks for coming in the interview. Appreciate the insightful answers to all of our questions.
I have one final thing to say, if that's okay.
Go for it.
No.
No. It's nothing bad. I've decided to leave. I've decided to leave that part of me behind me. I decided that our new opposition is actually Europe, because I'm looking at the chat and I just see like, the awesome epic Europe finals are done. Let's watch the toddlers on the play yard fighting now. Like what even is that? Like we're out here, hustling. But anyways, listen, like I hope there's a LAN and Melee Creeps and Sneaky Golem are gonna take top 2 again. So we're gonna beat EU. That's all I got. Also, GG's to those guys in Melee Creeps are really good.
The last 2 months, it's been us only talking about NA, because EU's been a little bit boring with just Buff and George Abrahams every week. At least in NA, we're seeing some mix-ups and we're seeing some new talent come to the top.
I heard Poshy Pop is making a new team. By the way, you guys should be on the lookout for that.
Heard. Say less.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, ABG, thank you so much for joining us, man. Go
thanks, guys.
celebrate. Go buy yourself something nice to eat. I wish I was there in Toronto or near you as well.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take it easy.
All right, well, that wraps up our match here with Sneaky going with the 2-0. I was kind of hoping for a 3-mapper, to be honest, but as you heard AVG say, and it kind of confirmed what we thought, the second they saw John on Warden, they were grinning from ear to ear, knowing this is going to be a relatively easy game for them. And to be fair, the work they put in made it into an easy game, Jake.
Yeah, it was a great show from them, man. Really looking rock solid after we were kind of worried. We thought, hey, maybe this is a victory lap for the Melee Creeps, but Sneaky Golem came in with a significantly different draft, a really well-developed strategy, great flexibility from across the board on a lot of their players, and a solid game plan to boot. So hats off to them. Congrats as well, of course, to our EU winners. I mean, this has been a pretty great night shift, if I do say so myself.
Not to mention ZP, right after the show finishes, we also do have the graveyard shift with Saya. I'm hoping he's in a good mood, even though they just lost 2-0, but he's always a pleasure to talk to, and it was always so insightful about the game.
Yeah, I think Sai's going to be a good sport about things. I mean, look, easy come, easy go. The reality is for Melee Creeps is that, okay, they may have lost today, but, they did have that big tournament win just a few days ago for an even bigger prize pool. So, I think your Melee Creeps, tonight's a little bit bitter because you thought you're going to win it all, but on the same note, you're still pretty well and up over the last week. So I think Sai's still going to be in good spirits.
Well, hopefully it's not bitter because you ran out of Trolli Gummy, ZP, because we do have one more event coming up this weekend. We concluded things with North America with Melee Creeps winning 2-0 up against Sneaky Golem in the finals, but we have EU to show us what they've got with 70 teams signed up in an open qualifier that ZP and Killinger have to spend their entire Friday going through until we have only 4 teams to join our 4 invited on Saturday. Can you quickly tell us, ZP, who are our 4 invited teams for everyone out there who doesn't know?
That's right. The 4 invited teams for EU, it's going to be Buff and Joyers at number 1 because, of course, they have to be at number 1 with recent performance. Abrahams at number 2, who are on the rise after winning night shift here tonight. Number 3 is going to be the return of some of the 1-win players you used to see, not under the 1-win banner anymore, but under the banner of Mel Team. And number 4 is going to be Lodos, one of the best teams in EU, of course, that we've seen week after week. Those teams will automatically go on to Saturday group stage play. And in qualifier day, it's going to be a lot of the untapped talent in EU, where a lot of the smart money is on Fearless Furies, our number 1 seed in the qualifiers, going all the way and becoming one of the 8 teams for Saturday group stage play. A lot of cool storylines yet to develop in EU, and it's all going down this weekend.
And if you guys are interested in checking out the qualifiers, there won't be any official matches broadcasted, but you can make sure to show some love to your favorite players who will be participating in it, or maybe some other streamers out there who will be covering some of the matches. But for myself, for the other casters, for production, and for the players, thank you as well in the audience. You guys have made these shows so fun week in and week out. I think we got something like 300 subs today. You got to see my sweet Ninja Turtle pants, and we'll see what's going to happen next time. Make sure to tune in on Saturday at 4 p.m. CE, 1 p.m. CES. 1 p.m. EDT. So difficult for me to remember, and we'll be bringing you some more Deadlock action then. He's still sleeping.
Good night.